A few months into the global anomaly outbreak, my name is Jin Yop, and I was the ordinary man at the back of a survivor convoy on a bicycle, riding for a city the radio just called the no man's land. Then my hand touched a stolen blanket, and an upgrade system woke up, paid in killing points, 300 loan to start. By the 6th day, I spent 1,000 of them on a crossbow bolt through a traitor's throat. The ordinary guy at the back of the line was gone. Subscribe if you have not already, and drop a like to keep the algorithm fed. Story starts now. Let me back up to the day before all of this, the day everything was still wrong. The radio in the lead truck spits static, then a man's voice cuts through, telling us the current time is 10:23 in the morning, the 13th of October, 2030, and that this might be the last broadcast from his station. He says Sango has fallen and become a no man's land, that we are not to go near the city under any circumstance, that survivors must never stare at the blood moon for more than 3 seconds, never greet shadows under streetlights, never believe a dead loved one has come back to life. He says the torch of humanity will never go out, then the static eats him and the radio dies. A cold runs through me as I listen, and the same cold spreads through the whole convoy. Sango was one of the top super cities in the world, and now it is a forbidden zone for people. A few months ago, the global anomaly outbreak began, and entire small countries collapsed in days. Human guns are a joke against anomalies. Anomalies cannot be killed, or rather, they are very difficult to kill. I escaped from Gangseong and joined this convoy of other survivors, and we have been heading for the supposed survivor base in Sangho. I ride at the back on a vintage bicycle, my whole life packed into one large bundle, strapped to the rear seat. And the reason I am not in a car is simple. I tried smashing a window once, but without a key I could not start the engine, and I am not the kind of man who can pull 2 wires together and roar away like in the movies. No one prepared for the apocalypse by learning to hotwire cars. Even this old bicycle was the last one in the bike shed. The convoy is a mess of vehicles, modified off-road trucks, buses, motorcycles, even a couple of mobility scooters and electric scooters. Bicycles too, plenty of them, because a bicycle carries more than a man on foot, and we all live by 2 iron rules. And the first rule is never fall behind, never fall behind, never fall behind. The second is stockpile every supply you can. The first rule beats the second, because without supplies someone may still pity you and share, but if you fall behind, only death waits. Most of us escaped from Gangseong and pinned our hopes on Sangho. As one of the top cities in the country, everyone believed Sangho would have an answer to the anomalies. Now that the radio has spoken, the small sparks of hope in everyone's eyes go gray and desolate. Sobs ripple through the convoy. Tens of millions of people lived in that city. The convoy moves on under a heavy, unspeakable mood. Night drops, and we camp. The blood moon rises quietly and hangs over the treetops, casting a bloody veil over the world, and a strange aura settles across the land, and the survivors swallow their crying, afraid to wake whatever lives in the dark. Night is when anomalies are most active. Distant towns send out faint cries for help, voices that beg us to come rescue them, but every survivor here knows that trick. Anomalies use bait like that all the time. I pull my bundle off the back seat and dig out a camping pot, a portable stove, half a bottle of mineral water. The pot and stove came off the escape route, and so did the hand crossbow on my waist. In an apocalypse like this, sometimes people are scarier than anomalies. I tear open a packet of instant noodles, dump them in, pour the water, and light the stove. Blue flames lick the pot, the water starts to bubble, and after a second I add a sausage and stop there. This is the last can of gas, and once it is gone, hot food becomes a memory. Steam climbs out of the pot, and the smell of instant noodles spreads, and I drift into thought. Sango has fallen. What am I supposed to do next? I remember a post I saw online before the outbreak. Some madman insisting that anomalies cannot be killed, and only sequence transcendence can deal with them. And I dismissed it as nonsense at the time. Then the outbreak hit, and I put a crossbow bolt through an anomaly with 0 effect. Sequence transcendence. Then, and the post said there were many paths to awakening one. Some woke up to a sequences with no warning at all. Others took a sequence injection, and the post said there were hundreds of sequences, every one of them different. I admit I am curious. What do these abilities even look like? The smell of noodles drifts out of the pot, and I used to hate instant noodles. Tonight a bowl of them is a gift, and most of the survivors around me do not even have that, and they smell my pot and swallow hard, greed waking in their eyes. If my crossbow was not on my lap, somebody would already be trying to take it. Some of these people have not eaten in a full day. The bowl goes down fast, and the crossbow does not leave my hand the whole time. Washing dishes would be a luxury until I find a real water source. Every drop counts now, and I light the last cigarette in the pack. Crush the wrapper into a ball, throw it away. In this world, cigarettes are scarce too, and everyone smoked as one fewer waiting, and the little flame outlines my face, and the smoke smooths some of the anxiety out of my chest. I smoke it down to a burnt taste and toss it. I dig out the blanket I lifted from a villa earlier, and the moment my hand touches it, a line of text appears in my mind. The system tells me upgrading the blanket will cost 129 killing points, and asks whether I want to proceed. Upgrade. A quarter of an hour later, I figured out what just landed on me. What woke up inside me is not a sequence ability at all. It is an upgrade system. As long as I want it, any item I touch can be upgraded. The blanket, the crossbow, even the portable stove I just cooked on. And the only requirement is killing points. Given enough of them, I could turn this blanket into a magic carpet. Then the joy drains out of me, and I have 0 killing points. Then a second line of text comes through. The system tells me that since I am a first-time user, it can lend me 300 killing points due in 1 month, and I confirm without thinking. In this apocalypse, I could be dead tomorrow, and not borrowing now would be stupid. With 300 points loaded, I look at my bicycle. Right now, this bicycle is my single most important asset. Upgrading it is the only choice that makes sense. I have watched the people who fell behind, and they never came back, and the convoy's first iron rule. I tell the system to spend everything on the bicycle, and the system asks me to confirm I want to use all 300 killing points on it, and I confirm. An hourglass appears over the bicycle, counting down 4 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and on, and the night is silent, with humanity quiet. The stars are thicker than I remember. If not for the sobs scattered around me, I could almost believe the world never changed, and the horizon shows the first faint gray of dawn, and a notification wakes me. The upgrade is complete. Under the new light, I see my 28-inch bicycle has changed, and the 2 wheels are now 3, the tires fatter, the treads aggressive, the spokes thicker. There is a cargo bed mounted behind the saddle. The 28-inch bicycle has become a tricycle, and I test it, and the ride is even easier than the old one, and the system has installed a labor-saving device. I run a hand over the frame and confirm it. Voices come at me before I am even off the saddle. Yopie, where did you get this bike? Jin Yop, did you go out collecting supplies last night? You are too bold. Tisk tisk, that bike is no worse than those cars. The whole convoy watches, envy and jealousy in every face. Any supplies are precious now, and a vehicle like this is something else. And the best part is it needs no gasoline. Plenty of people joined the convoy in cars and ended up abandoning them by the roadside when the fuel ran dry. Only the 2 modified off-roads up front can still get gas. The drivers up there are said to be powerful, especially a young girl with a sword. A yoga pants woman walks over. She asks me to let her sit in the cargo bed, saying her legs have been hurting for days, and she rubs her calves coquettishly enough that every man within 10 meters swallows. She was rescued during a supply run and has had men fawning over her ever since. She tried for the off-roads, got turned down, and now my tricycle is her second choice. I refuse without thinking. Her face goes ugly fast. Before the apocalypse she was pretty, and she has not been told no in a long time, and she has been surviving on that beauty since the outbreak. She did not expect a flat refusal from me. A burly man jumps in, calling out to her, telling her she can ride his bike. His backseat has a cushion, guaranteed comfortable, and her expression brightens. She gives me one fierce glare and walks toward him like a proud princess. The man is Brother Gang, a fitness instructor at a gym before the outbreak. All muscle, and he had a motorcycle, ran it dry, switched to a bicycle. The yoga pants woman sits on Brother Gang's back seat and complains that his bike is too bumpy and why can he not get a 4-wheeled one. Brother Gang chuckles and starts bluffing about how 4-wheelers are easy to find but a pain to fuel or charge. And the truth is he tried to start abandoned cars and could not. The yoga pants woman rolls her eyes and tells him if he cannot manage a 4-wheeler, he should at least manage a 3-wheeler. Look at Jin Yup. Then she leans into Brother Gang's ear and asks why they do not just snatch my tricycle. Brother Gang sees the crossbow on my waist and stalls, telling her I am not someone to trifle with, especially with that crossbow, and the yoga pants woman snorts at him for being gutless. I hang the crossbow on my waist and toss my pack into the cargo bed. The pack barely fit on the old back seat, and now it sits in the new bed with room to spare. The convoy moves faster today than yesterday, and with the labor-saving device my legs barely have to work, and the cyclists around me are dripping sweat, and I am cruising. Brother Gang pedals like a man drowning, his back soaked, and the yoga pants woman behind him glares harder at me with every minute. Someone shouts that there are houses ahead, and the noise drops into the convoy like a stone into still water. Heads come up, gaunt faces fill with greed and joy and a touch of fear. I look up and see rows of buildings standing by the road. A small town, and a town means supplies. Plenty of people in the convoy are running on empty, and even I am low. After the outbreak, most towns became forbidden zones, the bigger ones the worst. A super city like Sangho is beyond imagining. None of the Gangsang survivors here want to face those things again. If it were night, we would skirt the town, but daylight gives us a window. Anomalies usually do not appear in the sun, which means a chance to grab supplies. The off-roads up front speed up, and I hang my crossbow on my waist, stand on the pedals, and accelerate, leaving the cyclist behind. Envious eyes follow me. Someone curses me for being so fast. Someone shouts, "May God strike me dead." Someone else says there might be anomalies in town. Someone snaps back that he does not care. If he does not find food, he starves tonight, and the bold survive, the timid starve. First come, first served. The convoy charges as if injected with something. Even the exhausted foot survivors finding fresh energy. The closer we get, the worse the town feels, and a chilling pressure radiates off it, and our heads cool. and the town sits by the road like a sleeping beast. It is broad daylight, and the place feels like a deep winter night, and the lead off-road hits the brakes and leaves 2 black streaks on the asphalt with a shriek. Other vehicles brake right behind, and the noise drops as if somebody hit a mute button, strangely quiet. I roll up behind the four-wheelers, and when I see what is waiting at the gate, my stomach goes tight and fear runs from my soles to the roots of my hair. A big archway stands at the town entrance, the paint reading that Manhwa town welcomes us, and the red has faded into a desolate orange. Beyond it, a long street runs into the distance. The afternoon is barely past 3, and the road feels like endless darkness lies at the end of it. Shops line both sides under uniform black and white signage. Weeds break the pavement. Walls are mottled. Billboards are half torn. Only a few months since the outbreak, and the town looks like nobody has set foot here in decades, and a wet, rotten smell rolls out. Anyone with a brain can tell something is wrong with Manhwa town. Faces around me go pale, legs cramp, people back away, and my expression is not great either. And I take the crossbow off my waist. The crossbow is useless against anomalies, but at least it feels like something in my hand. And a rough voice cuts through. The voice tells everyone to stop being wishy-washy, that he is going in first. We turn and see a burly man squeeze himself out of a modified off-road. 2 meters tall, weighing over 660 pounds, his arms thick as another man's waist. Only when he is on his feet do I grasp how huge he is, and the giant charges like an elephant toward the distant supermarket sign. From inside the off-road, a voice yells after him, calling him big fool and telling him to wait, and the off-road starts up and follows, and the others look at each other, and another off-road joins. Then an old man in an old man's happy car kicks his electric scooter on and follows too, snapping at the young people for being weaker than him, promising they will only get to watch him eat and drink well. The faces around me flush, curses fly, and many follow. I roll my tricycle after them, but I am not aiming at the big supermarket deep in town. Going that far in is a death sentence if anything happens. My target is the shops along the street, and the supplies in those will be smaller, but the safety is higher, and the sun still reaches the storefronts. Veteran survivors say that once you escape into sunlight, an anomaly stops chasing, and a few others have the same plan, and I head for the front of a tobacco and liquor shop. Through the glass door, I can see packs of cigarettes openly displayed in the glass counter, and shelves with snacks just past it in the dimmer back. Not as much as a supermarket, but enough for me. I look around for a brick, then realize the door's lock has already corroded into nothing. The glass door creaks open at the lightest pull, the hinges close to falling off, and I peer inside. The afternoon sun reaches in and lights up the cigarette counter, and the back stays dark, and I lift the crossbow and step in carefully. Nothing, no shadow, no movement. I throw my backpack to my front, drop the crossbow on my hip, and start raiding the food shelves. I want the cigarettes badly, but food beats cigarettes when starvation is the alternative, and the shelves are emptier than I hoped. Country shops never carry what city convenience stores carry, and this one was probably already on its last legs before the outbreak. Spicy strips, instant noodles, jelly, everything goes in. The sunlight is sliding away across the floor, and I clear the snack shelves and the pack is 2/3 full, then half after I crush it down. Only then do I turn to the cigarette case behind the counter. I sweep them all in, a few packs of premium cigarettes and a couple of Lotus among the cheaper brands, and the display cabinets under the counter get cleared too. I add 2 bottles of liquor, then the shiver hits, the one I remember from Manhwa town's entrance and from other places back in Gangsung. Anyone who survived this far knows what that shiver means. A face whiter than a 3-day corpse is pressing against the back of my head. The chill creeps up my neck, the hairs on my hands stand up, and I smell something damp and cold and foul. Goosebumps run all the way down my spine. I turn my face slowly. It is a child, 7 or 8 years old, very close to my face. Pale skin, exaggerated pink blush, eyes and mouth bent into eerie arcs of a smile, and the whole child looks like it is made of paper. It is squatting in the dark like a monkey, watching me with curious eyes. Between us, a line cuts the floor where the sun ends. On one side, a few thin rays of sun. On the other, a cold, uncanny dark. There is no telling whether the paper-crying child has been crouching here since I walked in, or whether it just appeared. Holy crap. I stumble back, knock the counter over, try to rush the door, and the glass door has been barred from outside with a wooden stick. Somebody is targeting me. I look through the glass and see a man and a woman standing in front of my tricycle, and I know both of them. And the yoga pants woman, the one I refused. The yoga pants woman herself. And Brother Gang, the fitness trainer, and they feel my eyes on them, and the yoga pants woman is about to gloat, and then she sees the pale child in the dark behind me. Her face goes panicked, and she shoves Brother Gang to leave. A giggle comes out of the dark. The voice sings the nursery rhyme about the moon goddess shining on the coffin bed and the little brother crying his heart out waiting for candy, and it comes faint and indistinct, far and near at once. This is the paper-crying child, and the moon goddess in the song is probably the moon. In some southern parts of the old country, the moon was tied to the protection of children, and the coffin bed is a coffin. Candy used to be rare, and in some places candy was the comfort offered after a child's funeral, and I ran into a paper-crying child once in Gangseong. I did not think I would meet one again in Manhwa town, and my scalp tingles. I raise the crossbow and let an arrow fly, and the bolt punches clean through the child's body and out the other side, and I just want to curse. The child sings the nursery rhyme again, then it giggles and tells me it wants candy. While I was working the shelves inside, those two were watching me through the glass. The two of them only had a bicycle and a pack, and even raiding everything they could would not match what my tricycle could carry, so they had decided. The moment I went in, they quietly closed the door and slid a wooden stick through the handle, and I was sweeping the shelves and missed it, otherwise I would have already put a bolt through each of them. Outside, the glass brother gang mutters that doing this means thoroughly offending me. The yoga pants woman calls him a useless man and asks if he is really that scared of me. Says the tricycle is much better than his bicycle. Says I went in for supplies myself and cannot blame them if my ride disappears. She tells him that even if I come asking, they can just deny it. And what can I do? And she adds that I might not even come out alive. By the end, her tone is cheerful, and she tells him that before the apocalypse, she would not have wanted the tricycle, even as a gift. Brother gang gives in. The joy of getting the tricycle is louder than his fear of me, even though he knows I am dangerous. He runs a hand over the handlebars and exclaims that I have such good luck, that this thing is no worse than a car, no gas, no charge. Then the counter goes over inside, and through the glass they see a calm, emotionless face. Mine, and it is the calm that scares them. Both of them shiver at the same time. I am standing in the light, and behind me, a small figure is dimly visible in the dark. The yoga pants woman tells Brother Gang to hurry, and she is rattled by my stare. Brother Gang gets on the tricycle, stands on the pedals, and is surprised at how easily it moves, and they are gone in a few seconds. The reason he is so wary of me is that he escaped from Gang Seong with me. During the run, when a small-time thug who had been calling me Brother Yeop in the most familiar way possible became a liability, I broke his limbs and threw him to the anomaly chasing us. The thug was not a good person, but Brother Gang has never forgotten the cold of that moment, and he knows I look easygoing on the surface, even playful sometimes. He also knows what is under that. If the yoga pants woman had not been pushing him, he never would have crossed me. She promised him she would consider being his girlfriend if he protected her, and that promise pumped his blood up enough to do something stupid. Now, watching me through the glass, he is starting to regret it. I watch my tricycle vanish without a word, and the anomaly in the dark is the bigger problem in front of me, and the glass door is held shut by a wooden stick through the handle. Sometimes a door like this is hard to kick down. Sometimes it shatters with a touch. Behind me, the child babbles, "Candy, candy, give me candy," and I can feel the cold at my back. If I were not in the strip of sun coming through the glass, and the anomaly were not still holding back, I would already be dead, and an anomaly against an ordinary man is an instant kill. The sun is setting in the west though, and my refuge is shrinking, and the distance between us is less than a meter. Before long, this whole shop will be in shadow. I look around for a tool and find nothing, and I grit my teeth, lift my leg, and kick the glass door, and it rattles violently, hinges screaming. I kick again, and the door falls and shatters on the threshold. I rush out, and the afternoon sun hits me and drives the chill off, and for a second I am back in the human world, and I glance back into the dark. The pale child is standing in the gloom, two cold blushes on its cheeks, eyes full of venom, singing about the moon goddess shining on the coffin bed, and the little brother crying for candy. I am in the sun now and not afraid, and I sling the pack and chase the tricycle without looking back. Brother Gang and the yoga pants woman are heading for the big supermarket, and I had been planning to stay clear of going that deep, but my tricycle does not give me a choice. The 4 o'clock sun is sliding down, and I have to grab it back before dark, if I can pick up some supplies on the way. Even better. The street is filling with shadow, and I can feel pairs of eyes hidden in those shadows. Manhwa town, woken up by us, is starting to stir. While they pedal toward the supermarket, the yoga pants woman keeps lecturing Brother Gang. She tells him she just saw me come out and slaps the back of his head when he gets nervous. She tells him he is so much bigger than me and asks why he is such a coward, whether I can really snatch the tricycle back, whether I will really kill him with the convoy watching, whether even in the apocalypse a man can just kill people on a whim. Brother Gang stammers that I have not killed anyone yet. She rolls her eyes and demands what he is so scared of, then warns him that if he stays this gutless, she will not be his girlfriend. Inside, though, she is also weighing him. She had Brother Gang pegged as her best target before I existed. Now Brother Gang feels a little less appealing, and I have never even looked at her, and she has decided that if I would just curry favor, she would not mind ditching Brother Gang. She would even consider returning the tricycle, and she is angry that I have never given her the time of day. Brother Gang asks where they are going now. The yoga pants woman snaps that they are going to the supermarket to grab supplies. Does he want to starve her to death? The supermarket parking lot has several cars parked outside, modified off-roads, sedans, even a bus, and I recognize all of them from the convoy, and the whole car-owning class came for the same target. 2 off-roads I noticed earlier kept going further in to look for a gas station. After Gangzong, I have seen plenty of luxury cars abandoned by the road, gas tanks dry, all of them. Reality is not the movies. My tricycle is sitting at the supermarket entrance with my stuff still in the cargo hold from when I emptied the pack to start raiding. Those 2 have gone in. Good luck for me. The mall is huge, and the 4 o'clock sunlight's only a small patch at the entrance, and the rest goes black. With this many people inside, it should be loud, and it is dead silent, and I decide to try my luck along the front aisles. I dump my pack onto the cargo hold and put it back on empty, then crouch low and slip toward the entrance, crossbow up. If anything looks wrong, I will turn and run. Inside, the layout is much bigger than I expected, and the front shelves have already been stripped, and the remaining goods sit further in, and a few figures are working between aisles, sweeping things into bags. Not the two who took my tricycle, and I have no quarrel with them, and there is plenty here anyway, and I slow my steps and go deeper. The food section sits not far from the front. Other figures are already crouched there, and the second they see me, they put a finger to their lips. Before I can ask anything, the hairs on my neck rise. That feeling again. A tall young girl drifts between the shelves up ahead, muttering, "Normal supermarket shelves are about 2.2 meters, and her head is half a body above them. She has to be over 3 meters tall. No normal human is built like that. There is only one option. This is an anomaly." Her hair is loose and covers her face. Her white dress hangs off her like a puppet, and in her hand she holds a huge pair of scissors that open and close with a chilling click. She mutters to herself, asking where you are, telling you to come out and play. That is why the others made the shushing gesture, and a drop of cold sweat slides down my forehead. I just escaped the paper-crying child, and now there is a white-clothed scissor woman, and my heart is trying to leap out of my chest. The white-clothed scissor woman rounds a shelf and turns slowly, and I drop lower and ease around to the other side of the aisle. Only then do I notice how many of us are in the food section. The yoga pants woman and brother gang are not here, but the burly giant is, his huge body crouched into a comic ball, a foolish expression on his face. The giant is nervous too. And a man that big? Afraid of an anomaly? Why would a man that big be afraid of an anomaly? The white-clothed scissor woman senses something, and her head, the one covered by long hair, snaps toward me. 2 crimson eyes burn under the long hair. Everybody in the aisle freezes as if a paralysis spell is dropped on us, and the tension is suffocating, and the seconds drag like years. If she sees us, we are all dead. Finally, she moves on, walking mechanically forward, and we all exhale, and the others start trailing her at a distance, playing the world's worst hide-and-seek. I have a thought. This cannot go on forever. And I quietly take a tub of beef noodles off the shelf and into my bag, and the others see me and follow suit. Snakeskin bags, backpacks, anything they brought, they start filling, eyes fixed on the white-clothed scissor woman, and I follow behind. Everyone has stayed alive long enough that we know how to move without drawing her attention. Then I bump into the back of the survivor in front of me. Everyone has stopped, eyes filled with terror, looking ahead, and an 8-year-old anomaly child blocks our path. White skin like a 3-day corpse, that abnormal flush, those resentful eyes, and the paper-crying child has followed us in. A scream breaks the silence, and the scream wakes up every other anomaly in the dark, and the 3-meter white-clothed scissor woman cranks her head toward us, and a chill rolls over us and my limbs go numb. The scissors click, and the voice sings about the moon goddess and the coffin bed and the little brother waiting for candy, and the white-clothed scissor woman strides toward us, knocking shelves over. She wants to play together. I grab my pack and turn to flee. Before I can pivot, I see 2 survivors in front of me cut clean in half by the giant scissors. Their upper torsos drop to the floor, still scratching at the ground with their arms, blood pooling around them, and the white-clothed scissor woman laughs about how much fun it is. She raises the scissors again, and another survivor in a suit and gold-rimmed glasses is cut in half at the waist. A roar of fury erupts, and the whole supermarket fills with a violent aura. I watch the 2-meter muscular giant inflate like a balloon, his body swelling into a 3-meter monster of iron-corded muscle, his presence not lesser than the white-clothed scissor woman's. A sequence transcendent. So this is what one looks like. When I escaped Gangsan, I heard the rumors. Anomalies cannot be killed. Only sequence transcendence can stand against them. Sequence transcendents are humanity's last hope. On the road and the convoy, people kept talking about it. I never expected one to be standing in our convoy, and a 2-meter giant already looks wrong among normal people. Now that giant has turned into a 3-meter devil-muscled man, and there is no other word for what I am seeing. The 2 giants begin their fight in the food aisle, and the whole section becomes a battleground. Only then do I understand why this sequence transcendent was crouched in fear of the white-clothed scissor woman. The devil-muscled man roars and swings, and she catches his fist with one hand. If that fist had hit a person, it would have turned them to red mist. But the white-clothed scissor woman, thin as a dried corpse, has incomprehensible strength. She squeezes his fist like dough, pure, overwhelming pressure. And I watch in shock. This is not good either. The devil-muscled man's face twists in pain, his body bending under her sneer. I do not know what I am thinking at that moment, but I raise my crossbow and put a bolt straight at her face under the hair, and the shaft buries into her hair without effect. She turns her head slightly and looks at me, and a shiver runs through my whole body. The devil-muscled man swings his other fist and slams it into her face, driving the bolt deeper. A line of text flashes in front of my eyes, the system telling me I attacked an anomaly, the white-clothed scissor woman, and gained 200 killing points. I have no time for it. and the devil-muscled man's punch did nothing to her, and her body does not even sway. Her thin arm twitches, and the 3-meter giant goes flying through shelves, sending them crashing down. This is what an anomaly is. The sequence transcendent, the so-called miracle of mankind, is a ragdoll in her hands. In a few months, humanity has been driven out of its cities and turned into nomads, and we are the casualties of this disaster. The giant bellows that he will tear the bitch apart, and from the heap of fallen shelves, a massive body leaps and charges back into her. A faint bloody aura clings to him, and his vitality is more than I expected, and the scale in my head tips back toward this big fool. Even now, he is unhurt. A sequence transcendent really is something else. If this big fool will not run after this, his head is loose. If he will not run, I will. And I have never thought running was shameful. Even someone as legendary as Han Roma would run for his life facing a monster like this. While Big Fool and the white-clothed scissor woman are locked together, I will get far away. As long as I reach sunlight, the anomalies will not come after me. I sling the pack and run like hell. A familiar little voice catches up to my ear, singing about the moon goddess and the coffin bed and the little brother crying for candy, and my ankle locks up. I look down, and the pale child is grinning at me, eyes shining, wanting candy, and my steps slow, and it is over. That is the only thought I have. Then I see candy scattered all over the floor among the fallen shelves, and I scoop up a handful and offer it, telling the paper-crying child to take the candy. It freezes, surprised that I can produce candy, and it looks like it does not want to take it, and then some rule compels it to, and the pale little hand lets go of my calf and reaches out. I take the chance and bolt for the supermarket entrance. Survivors are screaming around me, and I glance back, and the paper-crying child is peeling a wrapper. The devil-muscled man has been knocked flying again, but he is already getting up and charging the white-clothed scissor woman. Like an unkillable cockroach, maybe the sequence transcendent is not useless after all. Or maybe the white-clothed scissor woman is just that strong, and the pressure in my chest eases a notch and I am safe for now. I scan the floor, pull 2 big bags from the collapsed shelves, and run for the exit. Behind me, the giggles drift in and out, broken by the devil-muscled man's roars, and I burst out the front in one long breath. Standing in the sun again, I feel like I have come back from the underworld. Inside, the screams keep coming. Save me. I do not want to die. No, do not come over. Survivors are running, and the figures in the dark are dragging some of them back. Every anomaly in Manhwa town has been pulled here by the noise. A column of sunlight at the doorway is the only thing keeping them inside, and they claw at me from the dark without me being able to make their shapes out. I gasp for air, and my lungs feel like they will explode. Sweat sticks my hair to my face, and I drop into my cargo bed and toss the 2 bags in. The old bicycle could not have held a tenth of this. A very unfriendly female voice cuts in, and she asks why I am in their cart and tells me to get down. And I turn. The yoga pants woman and brother gang are not far off, each carrying 2 packages, and I spot a side door I had not noticed. Those 2 are not as stupid as I thought. They found a side door and got in and out without taking the front. Good luck for them, bad luck that these 2 big bags they have are mine now. The yoga pants woman demands to know what I want, accuses me of trying to steal their cart, tells me they are not afraid of me and to get out of their cart and she will let it slide. I do not say a word, and I cock the crossbow. Brother gang shifts, panicked, asking me to talk it out, and the yoga pants woman calls him gutless, says she does not believe I can do anything. As her sentence ends, a bolt cuts across her vision and punches through Brother Gang's throat. His eyes go wide, the package drops, his hands fly to his neck, and he looks at me in disbelief. Blood sprays across her face. She freezes as if a petrifying spell hit her, shaking like a sieve, not daring to move, and a small puddle appears at her feet. She tries to make words and only manages you, and the apocalypse came too fast for people like her to adjust to its rules. And I shot Brother Gang first because he was the bigger threat. He was a coward, but in a real fight to the death his odds were not 0. A line of text flashes in my eyes telling me I shot and killed my enemy and gained 1,000 killing points, and I do not have time to look. I start cocking the crossbow again. She screams and runs, suddenly more afraid of me than of the anomalies, and the next bolt embeds in the wall and clatters down, and she is already through the side door, into the dark. Then a second scream, hers, comes from inside. She stumbles back through the door, all her arrogance gone, her face white with terror, snot and tears all over her. Behind her, a ragged figure has her hair in its hand. Just as she is about to break out into the sunlight, the figure pulls her back into the dark. She begs me to save her, says she was wrong, says she is still useful, says she still wants to live and does not want to die, says she has children at home and cannot die, tells me I am heartless. The figure drags her in regardless, slow and unhurried, and I watch and step back into the sun, and her pleas mean nothing to me. The drag mark of her struggle is the last thing the floor records of her. Only then do I notice how drenched in cold sweat I am, and I throw the 2 bags into the cart. Other survivors are scrambling out, loading up, no one stopping to say a word about justice. The whole scene is panicked flight, and no one is paying attention to us. I stand up, pedal my tricycle away, and And before I leave, I do not forget to pick up the 2 packages Brother Gang and the yoga pants woman dropped and toss them into the cart too. Humans have never beaten an anomaly since the outbreak. Anomalies cannot be killed, only sequence transcendence can deal with anomalies. But everything I just watched has cast a shadow across my mind. The devil-muscled man was undeniably strong, and he still could not handle the white-clothed scissor woman, and he was a child against her. And I pedal the tricycle as hard as I can toward the gate. The sun is fully sliding west, and the buildings on both sides have thrown shadows across 4/5 of the street. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see countless pitch-black shapes standing in the dark, glaring at us. Everyone is racing the clock. A figure flashes across a rooftop, and I only glance, and I see a young woman with a sword on her back. She moves like a legendary swordmaster, stepping lightly across the advertisements lining the street, moving against the flow like a gust of wind, heading straight for the supermarket behind us. Another sequence transcendent. Why are there so many in our convoy? No time to wonder, and I am already through the gate. The moment we clear the gate, a crowd presses in. People ask what happened, calling for husbands, little brothers looking for someone who might come back. And the crowd is mostly women, with hardly any old people or children. In an apocalypse, the old and the young have the worst stamina, and they get caught the soonest. Adult women, only a bit weaker than men, survive better. People press around me too, asking questions, and I do not answer, and I clutch the crossbow and push my way out. A man steps out of the lead-off road, and he wears a hooded sweatshirt and loose joggers, but he has no shoes, and his face is solemn and cold. He bends down, scoops a handful of dirt, and tastes it like a chef sampling a dish. His expression changes, and he tells everyone to hurry up, that if we do not leave now it will be too late, and the few people around him scramble back to their vehicles. Something is about to descend. Somebody asks about Nana and Iron Lion, and he says not to worry, they will catch up, and tells us to stop wasting time. And the first vehicles move, and other survivors notice fast. The signal to leave, and it is already past 5. Night is close, and if anomalies come out we are all dead. People panic and try to block the convoy, and a woman shouts that her husband is still inside, that we cannot leave. Someone begs us not to abandon them. The off-road floors the accelerator, blowing past them, and my face changes too, and I am about to follow when a middle-aged woman grabs my handlebars. She tells me I cannot leave, that I have to take them along, that they are old and will not survive otherwise. And I frown, annoyed. Before the apocalypse, women like her drew more pension than my salary. They were fierce in normal times, dancing in plazas and elbowing through supermarkets for cheap eggs. Now she wants my cargo bed by playing the age card. I tell her to get lost, and she starts in about respect for the elderly and care for the young, and I kick her hard, and she goes into the ditch beside the road. I push the pedals and follow the convoy. Curses chase me from behind, and the apocalypse hitting too fast has not been entirely good. Plenty of people, like the yoga pants woman, have not adjusted to the new rules yet. The off-roads ahead are running flat out, and the on-foot survivors fall behind fast. The labor-saving device on my tricycle keeps me in the game even with a full bed. A bus comes swerving out of town, the convoy's bus, the one that used to be packed. Through the windows I can see it is much emptier now. A survivor tries to wave it down and gets hit and sent flying, his fate uncertain, and the bus floors it and chases the convoy. I stand on the pedals and push harder. After passing a few bicycles, my tricycle hangs far behind the motorcycles. My desire to upgrade this tricycle into an electric one hits a new high. Maybe 4 wheels would be better, even with the fueling and charging headache. It would beat what I have. The road is decent thanks to recent infrastructure work, and the potholes do not slow me down much, and I do not know why the convoy ahead is sprinting like maniacs. I just know if I do not keep up tonight, I am probably dead. Today is also when I learned there are at least 2 sequence transcendents in our convoy. Maybe that is why we have been safe so far. My lungs feel scorched, convulsing with each breath. Without the labor-saving device, I would already be behind. Even with it, the convoy is just a little flicker of light up ahead. Heavy breathing comes from a few cyclists behind me, and the walkers are nowhere in sight. I do not know how long I push. Then the flicker ahead seems to stop, and a tiny hope sparks in me. Half an hour later, I finally catch up. People are out of their vehicles, putting up tents. I see a 2-meter muscular man being carried to an open patch nearby, his left arm severed at the shoulder, blood staining the grass, and a sword-carrying young woman stands beside him. The barefoot man is there too, and they glance back at me surprised that the first to catch up is a guy on a tricycle. I park, then drop straight to the ground gasping, and my chest heaves. About 5 minutes later, my breath stabilizes, and my whole body feels like it is falling apart. I drag myself up, sit against the tricycle's tire, pull out a premium cigarette, and light it, and the flame lights up my face. I exhale a long stream of smoke, and the nicotine carries some of the exhaustion off. Only then do I check the system, and my current killing points have crossed 1,200. Thinking back to the spot I was just in, I have exactly one plan. Upgrade this tricycle to an electric one. I do not know if my 1200 killing points are enough. If the devil-muscled man had not been throwing himself into the white-clothed scissor woman, I probably would not have those 1000 points at all. After today, I finally understand what an electric tricycle would mean to me. If the convoy ahead had not stopped, I would have been left behind for good. In this apocalypse, being left behind by the convoy means only death. And I am sure today's sprint was the convoy sensing something. Not being abandoned by the convoy is everything right now. Better yet, modify it to run on both human power and electricity. On a normal travel day, I pedal. On emergency days like today, I switch to the motor. I ask the system in my head whether I can design my own upgrade plan, and the system answers fast, yes, and a three-dimensional holographic rendering appears in front of me. In the system's plan, the 3 wheels become vacuum tires, all 3 sized to 16-inch, and the cargo bed gets sturdier and slightly larger, and the handlebars gain a throttle and brakes and even a headlight. I think about it, if I hit rain again without a cover I will get soaked, so I change the front to a closed design. I also changed the tires to off-road solid tires, since solids need less maintenance and do not blow out, even if they ride rougher, and I plan to reinforce the frame. The system follows my thoughts and optimizes the rough edges, and it even autocorrects unreasonable choices, and it had defaulted to a 2-wheel rear drive, and I switch it to 3-wheel drive. 3-wheel drive is not 4-wheel drive, but is far better than rear drive for an apocalypse. I changed the main beam to a non-load-bearing frame, the kind used on hardcore off-roaders, good for rock crawling, deserts, in the middle of nowhere. All functions perfect for what is coming. With every choice, the rendering before me looks less like a tricycle and more like an entirely different vehicle. And if such an apocalypse tricycle really existed, it would not be much worse than the modified off-roads. I click confirm. The model flickers, and a line of text tells me the optimizer is running. The optimizer is running, and that upgrading the electric tricycle requires 3,500 killing points, which I do not have. The plan cannot proceed. No, damn it, 3,500, and I have a little over 1,200. This is too much. I am stunned, and I look at the rendering of the tricycle I designed, and my mouth is watering, and I am not ready to walk away, and I light a cigarette, think, and start cutting features. I drop everything not urgent and keep only what I need, and I cut the headlight too, all to save killing points. A few minutes later, I am staring at a stripped-down plan with a heavy heart, and the system tells me the current plan requires 1,200 killing points and a 15-hour upgrade. Do I want to proceed? 1,200 I have, 15 hours I can take. Just as I am about to confirm, my eye catches an abandoned motorcycle by the roadside, rusty, moss in the joints, common sight in the apocalypse. If I had luck and patience, I could probably find an off-road. The reality is no. I ask the system whether finding parts can shave killing points off, and the system answers yes, and I get up, weak and sore, and drag the motorcycle over. People nearby glance, see an ordinary man fussing with junk, and look away. Nearby, a few of them are pitching tents and starting fires, and the smell of meat reaches me, and my mouth fills with saliva. I take 2 long drags on my cigarette, swallow the hunger, and focus. I ask whether the motorcycle can be cannibalized. Yes, and the current modification then takes 900 killing points, only 300 saved, weak. And I ask whether there are other ways. The system tells me that if I can strip every part off the motorcycle and pre-install them on the tricycle, another 100 is saved. If I can find a third tire, another 100, and so on. And the more pre-work I do, the more I save, and I have no tools. So this is the ceiling for tonight. Next supply run, I am collecting a toolkit too. The original plan for an electric tricycle becomes gasoline-powered now. Cannot be helped. Next time I run for supplies, I will be hunting fuel too, and my tricycle still has both modes, pedal or engine. After the modification, the pedaling will be much harder, and I confirm, and an hourglass appears over the tricycle. 6 hours. 9 hours saved off the previous estimate. The modification finishes by morning. Only then do I check the supplies. I brought out 2 big bags from the supermarket, and there are the 2 I lifted from the yoga pants woman and brother gang, and I open the 2 supermarket bags first. The cigarette in my mouth has gone out, and I flick it. In an apocalypse, no one is going to lecture me on litter, and I light another and savor the smoke. More than half my pack is cigarettes. Plenty for now. And I let myself feel a little extravagant. Then I notice movement in the dark and look over, wary, and a group arrives nearby panting hard, and they are finally here, almost dying. The monster's not chasing anymore, alive. From their tone, it sounds like the anomalies pursued them. The camp briefly fills with noise, some weeping with their heads in their hands, some sprawled on the ground gasping, others silent, and a few of them glare at the people who drove cars. Even me, the tricycle guy, gets hateful looks, and I put the crossbow next to me and warn them off with my eyes. They are in bad shape, some bleeding, but their situation is not my doing, and I am not in the business of pretending to be a saint, and the previous convoy had about 200 people. Even with this latecomer group, we are under 100. This is the apocalypse. I dragged my tricycle closer to the car-owning group, putting some distance between me and the angry ones, and finally get to sort my haul, and the first bag is full of rice. I have not eaten rice in days, and seeing the bag I swallow. The second bag opens up into snacks, potato chips, instant noodles, spicy strips, chocolate, a few bottles of drinks and mineral water, and a big snack pack. Joy flashes across my face. The drinks will spike sugar fast, and the empty bottles can hold water, and I pack everything into bags and hide them. Then I move to the spoils of the yoga pants woman and brother gang. Hers is mostly women's clothing and shoes, plus feminine hygiene products. Practically useless to me, only good as trade. Brother gang's pack is bigger than mine and stuffed, and I find cured meat scarce currency right there. Plenty of snacks, 2 big packs of dried noodles enough to last me a long time, several pieces of clothing and a pair of shoes too, and a small thrill goes through me. It is still October, and the weather has not really cooled, and my daily sweat is sour and constant, and my clothes look beggar grade. Even without a shower, clean clothes will help. I quick change into a quick drying shirt and stash the dirty ones, planning to wash them at the next river. In an era like this, nothing is wasted, even my worn shoes I keep. And I pull out the camping stove and pot and plan a real meal. Without a knife, I pry off a small chunk of cured meat with the tip of a crossbow bolt and drop it into the pot, and I will not waste water washing rice. I pour a little water in, drop the meat, and set the pot on the stove. Brother Gang's pack also yielded 2 bottles of red chili crisp. 2 bottles of that in this world is a blessing. The latecomers nearby are still crying, and I do not have it in me to care. In this apocalypse, the people who can still cry are the ones who survive. I lean against the tricycle, exhale a smoke ring, and wait for the meal to cook, watching the others warily. After they show no sign of trouble, I turn my mind back to the system. 5 hours left on the tricycle upgrade, and I still have 300 killing points. I think about sequence transcendence again, and I ask the system how to awaken 1, and it answers quickly. 2 ways. Get a sequence injection and inject 1. Self-awaken, and my eyes narrow. Sequence injections are described as priceless even now, and in the apocalypse, with humanity driven out of the cities, they would be even harder to come by. And I ask whether the system has a self-awaken method. Yes, the system tells me 3,000 killing points for the exchange, and I almost died for 1,000. 3,000 is a fantasy right now. With 300 left, if I dump them all, I will have nothing. Since the system is not pushing me to repay yet, how do I best spend 300? I take a deep drag and run the numbers, and I recall what I just saw in Manhwa town. Against the white-clothed scissor woman and the paper-crying child, an ordinary man can only run. I tell the system to exchange 300 killing points for a way to deal with anomalies, and the system goes into a loading spin like a phone opening an app. 10 minutes pass. Just as I am writing it off, a message comes back asking me to confirm 300 killing points for a method to handle anomalies. There really is a way. I sit up, confirm. The 300 points disappear, and a line appears in front of me. Black dog blood, and I had not expected that. A small joy flashes in me, and I have been worrying about what happens if the tricycle upgrades and I have no gas. If I trade this method with the sequence transcendence up front, I wonder if I can pull gasoline out of them. Then I think wider, if sequence injections can be exchanged. Surely gasoline and other supplies can too. I ask the system, and the system says yes. Then I see the exchange rates and go silent. Unless my life is on the line, I will not be exchanging for any of that. By dawn, a notification flashes. Upgrade complete, and the tricycle flashes faintly, and the whole vehicle looks different. And it is no longer a bicycle, and it is closer to a motorized tricycle. The front half is the abandoned motorcycle from the roadside. The handlebars, the seat, the round large fuel tank, all of it. From the back, the cargo bed has changed too. The side railings are raised. If I drop the rear gate flat and throw a cushion on it, I can sleep in the bed instead of on the ground, and the load capacity climbs again. It still falls short of the original blueprint, but for now this is impressive. The front tire came off the motorcycle. The 2 rear tires are still bicycle tires. A compromise to save killing points. There is no canopy over the driver, so wind and rain will be rough. And the main beam is unreinforced, rear-wheel drive only, for 900 killing points. Worth it. In human-powered mode, even with the labor-saving device, the new tricycle is much harder to push than before. If I cannot get gas, this thing might be less useful than the old setup. And my mindset has shifted. If yesterday's emergency happens again, I will be left behind. Being left behind means death. And the motorcycle's engine may lack power, but it is faster than a bicycle. Fueling will be a pain, and I accept it. I look at the front of the convoy. 2 off-roads, a sedan, a bus, and they have gasoline, and I have plenty of supplies, and I might be able to trade. My motorized tricycle starts pulling attention fast, some envious looks, some mockery. People mutter that the old bicycle was better, that he is going to suffer hauling fuel later. Somebody else says they should ask where his tricycle went, that they could use one, and a third points out that it was modified from that very tricycle. They go quiet, then somebody says it is off. Somebody else asks how, and the man asks how a normal person modifies a tricycle like this in one night. The crowd freezes. Even with several people in several days, this is hard work, and he did it alone in one night. Impossible. Could it be that he is an anomaly? Their eyes turn wary. hatred, suspicion, fear. But no one steps forward. Some of them saw me shoot Brother Gang outside the supermarket yesterday, and I feel my stomach tighten. The noise draws attention, and a clear voice cuts through, and a long-legged girl with a high ponytail walks over, lined shoes, hot pants, a cartoon t-shirt, a long sword on her hip. I know her from the rooftops at Manhwa town, and her movement was like walking on walls and skipping over eaves. Sequence transcendent. The other survivors do not know her exactly, but look at her with awe, and she glances around, then lands on me, then on my tricycle. When her eyes hit the tricycle, a strange gleam shows up. I reach for the crossbow, knowing I am not a match for her, but surrendering is not on the table. She asks if the motorcycle is mine, and I say it is. She tells me it is amazing that yesterday I was on a tricycle, and today it is a motorcycle, that I am truly impressive, and asks whether I have awakened a sequence. Her bright eyes lock on me, and I am stunned, and she thinks I awakened a sequence, and the survivors around me are even more shocked. Some of them have only heard rumors of sequence transcendence and never seen one. After yesterday, no one thinks a sequence transcendent is a legend. Now everyone is hearing that I have awakened one. Their disdain flips to envy and jealousy. She hums and says it is the mechanic sequence, then says I should come with her. She turns and leads me toward the vehicles up front, leaving a crowd of drooling, envious survivors behind. And I get it, and she has mistaken the upgrade system for a sequence ability. I keep my mouth shut and follow. This convoy has a sharp class divide, and the car owners up front, who include at least 2 sequence transcendents by my guess, are only a few dozen, and their clothing and posture are visibly better than ours. I have even heard there is a celebrity among them. Everyone else, the bicycle riders and the walkers, sit behind them, and yesterday made it clear we can be cut loose at any moment. The barefoot young man with the unique aura watches me as we arrive, and the others throw surprised looks. The girl introduces me, telling them I just awakened the mechanic sequence, and the surprise turns into envy, even from the men who normally would not show it. Someone calls me the 4th sequence transcendent in the team, says the team really keeps gaining them. 4, so there is one more besides the 3 I have seen. The barefoot man with the unique aura must be 1, and the sword immortal flips her ponytail and points at the motorcycle tricycle, jaw lifted, proud of her find. She tells the team to remember what the bike was last night and what it is now. Says only a mechanic sequence transcendent could pull that off. Says it is good to have one in the team. Then she slaps my shoulder. The barefoot man with the unique aura stands and extends a hand, a sunny smile on his face, welcoming me to my awakening, telling me this will be a whole new world. From this moment on, I feel the door to being a sequence transcendent crack open for me halfway. Steam rises out of a teacup. Since the apocalypse, this is the first time I have had tea, and the tea I used to hate suddenly tastes refreshing. I am inside the tent now with the barefoot man and the long-legged girl, and he introduces himself as Chu Chael, Pathfinder Sequence, and she is Nana, Sword Immortal Sequence. I tell them I am Jin Yop, Mechanic Sequence. Since they have decided that is what I am, that is what I will be. Chu Chael tells me there is another I should have seen, the big guy Titan Sequence, currently resting. He says I must have just awakened and have plenty of questions, that he was clueless when he first awakened too, and that I can ask anything, and I ask what the mechanic sequence is. He looks at me, surprised. By logic, every newly awakened sequence transcendent gets basic information embedded in their genes, and I act like I know nothing. He swallows his suspicion, sips his tea, and tells me the mechanic sequence has a talent for any machinery that ordinary people cannot match, an innate intuition for the working and principle of machines. He calls it an auxiliary sequence. In peacetime, it would have been one of the most ideal sequences, and a pity. From his explanation, I get a deeper picture. There are over 100 kinds of sequence transcendents, and even Chu Chael only knows a handful. Each has its own ability. There are broad categories: combat, auxiliary, supernatural. Even each country has its own unique ones. And the old country had Sword Immortal, Heavenly Master, and so on. And the island country had Ninja and Shikigami. Nana's Sword Immortal sequence is a unique line from the old country, born for the blade. Chu Chael says that as early as 2025 anomalies were already breaking out. Less severe at first, manageable by governments. By then some people had already started awakening as sequence transcendents. He talks at a measured pace, and I listen carefully. He repeats that anomalies cannot be killed and only sequence transcendents can fight them. But as I saw, even sequence transcendents can only play a role. That killing an anomaly is extremely hard at low levels and impossible for some. The white-clothed scissor woman, he says, was not a strong anomaly among anomalies. Even so, Iron Lion and Nana together could only protect their lives. Iron Lion lost an arm to survive. Human sequence transcendents are still too weak against anomalies, and anomalies keep getting stronger, and the future of humanity is very bleak. Every word makes my heart heavier. Human cities have become anomaly nests, and anomalies keep evolving. Is there still hope for humanity? Chu Chael also explains why the convoy has stayed safe so long, and he is Pathfinder Sequence. The sequence has no offensive power, but its transcendence can sense the aura of anomalies within a range, and from that pick a safe route. That is why the convoy has never been attacked on the road. He also says that anomalies are drawn to people, so the more people in the convoy, the more anomalies it pulls, which means constantly moving and evading is the only way to survive. There is no destination, survival is the only goal. He tells me I am the 4th sequence transcendent in the convoy now, that with my addition the convoy will be safer, and welcomes me. Nana watches me with bright eyes. I shrug, what choice do I have, and I shake his hand. Then I ask whether the team has any gasoline. Chu Chiel asks what I will trade for it. In the convoy, every necessary supply must be collected or traded. Trade. And I am a sequence transcendent now and I still have to trade. Sequence transcendents get no perks, and he just welcomed me after all. And I suggest an internal trade fair. We just came out of Hunghua town and most people have something on hand to swap. He winks and tells me as long as I can pay the price I can trade for anything I want, and my head starts working. An internal trade fair could be where I trade for the materials I need to upgrade the tricycle, and I cannot help looking forward to it. Soon enough I get the picture of how this convoy runs. Ordinary people are the majority, but ordinary people have no real bargaining power, and the only ones I can trade meaningfully with are the sequence transcendents. The captain is Chu Chiel of the Pathfinder sequence, a natural leader, and he runs the convoy with a relaxed hand, and his only rule is fairness. Whether it is him or the lowliest survivor, anyone who wants a supply has to either find it or trade something of equal value. I once saw a guy sneak into another tent at night, and as long as he paid the price, he survived, and I have no objection. Holding on to fairness in the apocalypse is rare. A trade fair gets thrown together to welcome me, the newly joined sequence transcendent. Chu Chiel, Nana, and the still recovering bid guy hold a small material exchange. Many people came out of Hunghua town with goods, and the fair gives them a chance to maximize. There are no special rules. Both parties just have to agree. The whole thing is set for 2 hours and then we hit the road. For survivors who have been tight-strung for weeks, this fair lands like spring rain, and a few faces show rare smiles. The trunks of several off-roads open up. People haul their supplies out and lay them out, and I pull my haul out of the motorcycle too, and I am keeping the cigarettes for myself, naturally. Counting my motorized tricycle, motorcycles, and bicycles. The convoy has 4 four-wheelers, 2 modified off-roads belonging to Chu Chiel and Nana, 1 bus belonging to the Titan sequence Big Fool who is still healing, and a small sedan. The sedan belongs to the convoy's legendary celebrity. I see her too, a woman in her early 20s in plain jeans and a white shirt. Hair well kept, delicate features lovely even without makeup, and she looks familiar but I cannot place her. She introduces herself as Ju Ran, and only then do I recognize the name, and she tells me she has seen my work and that it is good. I thank her, then ask if I can look at the women's clothes she has. Chu Chiel's trunk is half filled with expired biscuits and cola, enough that he is not going hungry for a while. I spot a foldable solar charging panel, the kind hikers use to recharge phones in the wild. If I could get one and upgrade it, it might power an electric vehicle. Right now I need gasoline more, but I file it away, and he also has assault jackets, fleece, quick-drying clothes, all the practical stuff, 2 large barrels of gasoline, and a few strange animal hides, including 1 blood red one that catches my eye. He tells me he picked it up escaping Gangxiang, says he does not know its use, says if I am interested he will give me a discount. 1 bag of rice and it is mine. He is eyeing my bag of rice. Trading my rice for a hide of unknown use is impossible, and I politely refuse. He clicks his tongue and calls me stingy, then asks for 2 packs of premium cigarettes instead. After this stunt, I no longer hold this captain in high regard. I ask how to trade for the gasoline, and he strokes his chin and tells me 1 box of instant noodles, 10 Snickers bars, 5 pounds of rice. I think about it and decide to look around. Chu Chiel is not the only one with gasoline. I move to Nana's trunk, and the off-road is huge, but a small portion is filled with clothes. The food is snacks, instant noodles, well-packaged cured meat of uncertain expiration, plus several handheld game consoles. She tells me the consoles are the latest models and offers me a discount, says I just have to give her my bag of flour, and I have no use for a handheld in the apocalypse. There are also several knives in the car, and she tells me they were from a villa and asks for 10 pounds of flour for the long one. I ask the gasoline rate, 20 pounds of rice, and I am silent. Finally, I head to the bus, and it has the most supplies because people on the bus pooled in. Plenty of survivors are lingering at the bus stall, which has cans of beef and fish, baseball bats, instant noodles, underwear, toilet paper, even Apple laptops and a box of Apple phones. I see an outdoor power bank, the camping kind with about 2 kilowatt hours of capacity. Those things used to cost tens of thousands. Cheap ones still cost several thousand. And in this apocalypse where charging is the problem, it is closer to decoration. There are rice cookers and microwaves too. Then I see what I actually want. A set of repair tools, screwdrivers, sockets, wrenches. Without tools when I upgraded the tricycle, the system charged me extra. With my new mechanic sequence identity, I cannot operate without a toolkit. And a bald 30-something man with glasses smiles at me with a hint of fawning and tells me Mr. Chen will get twice the result for half the effort, that he can give me a discount. And I ask his price, 10 pounds of rice, or 2 boxes of instant noodles. I frown slightly, and the price is a bit steep. In the apocalypse, grain is the hardest currency, especially unpackaged grain like rice. Plenty of people have been eating instant noodles and packaged food for too long. Most who escaped Manhwa town grabbed chips, crackers, and noodles. Flour and rice are scarce. Seeing me frown, he steps back fast and offers £5, or if I will help repair the bus twice for free. The tools are mine, and he keeps watching my face. The convoy is under 100 people, and the news that I am a Connect Sequence Transcendent has already reached everyone, and I hesitate, then deal. And he hauls the toolkit onto my motorcycle tricycle. Thrilled. I also trade for some seasonings, salt, oil, for a few packs of instant noodles. Half an hour of the 2-hour window is left, and I still do not have gasoline. The only sellers are Chuchiol, Nana, and the absent Iron Lion, and all three are quoting the same impossible numbers. Do I really have to use rice for this? I have not eaten rice in days myself, and I do not want to part with it. Maybe I can use the secret I bought from the system to trade for gasoline and Nana's knife. And I want the gasoline, and I also want the knife. A gaze has been watching me the whole time, and the owner is Ju Ran, the pre-apocalypse celebrity and current owner of the sedan. Her supplies are slim, only a few meager items, but plenty of men hover at her stall. Seeing me hesitate, she grits her teeth, stands up, opens the back door of her car, and pulls out a square iron barrel from the back seat, and her younger sibling rushes over and grabs her hand. The boy is very handsome, with a 5 or 6 point resemblance to her. If he were a girl, he would be a beauty, and she tells him to let go. He refuses, and asks if she is really planning to give that barrel of gasoline away. She tells him not to be silly, that the gasoline was hard-earned, that she would not be that foolish, and he half believes her, and she pats his head and says of course it is real. After he lets go, she carries the oil barrel toward me. She tells me she still has 1 barrel of gasoline and offers it, and I ask the price. 10 pounds of rice, 8 if I find 10 inconvenient. I frown. Chuchiol and Nana both wanted 20 for a barrel, and she is only asking 8, and the price is too cheap. She softens her voice and explains that she has 1 more barrel, enough to reach the next resupply point, and that she is giving it cheap in hopes that when she runs into trouble, I will look out for her. I look up and assess her. As a pre-apocalypse celebrity in this environment, she is a firefly in the dark, and the number of leering men around her stall already tells me that. If not for the convoy's remaining order, in another convoy she would already be ruined. As the apocalypse drags on, civilization is slowly slipping, and her celebrity halo will not protect her. It will mark her. Chuchiol and Nana have their circles. Only she stands outside and she is asking for my protection, since I am a fresh sequence transcendent. I hesitate, then tell her it is not enough, and her face pales slightly, and she asks me what else I want. She does not have much, only her and her brother, and in Manhwa town, the siblings did not gather many supplies, only a little better off than ordinary survivors. This barrel was her greatest sincerity if I take it, and they cannot find a resupply point within a week. The sedan will not run. I tell her to give me the barrel for free, and I will agree to her request that if she runs into trouble in the future, I will help. Her face turns red, and she had not expected the seemingly handsome boy to be this shameless. And she wants my barrel for free. She thinks food and gasoline are scarce, and she almost died getting it. Her gentle eyes go sharp, staring at me, and she wants to know why the man in front of her can be this shameless. She tells me, almost through her teeth, that what I said is too much, and my face shows no guilt. And I tell her she can pick clothes she likes from my pile. I also tell her that if she truly had other options, she would not be standing here. If it were before the apocalypse, I would not even have the right to know her. But now it is the apocalypse, and I am a sequence transcendent, and she is just an ordinary person, and she decides. Her chest heaves with anger. Before the apocalypse, even though I am handsome, she still would not have said another word to me. There would not have been the most basic interaction. Now her face is flushed with humiliation. Her beautiful eyes go moist. After a full 30 seconds of silence, she grits her teeth and tells me, "All right, deal." Her brother, who I learn is called Ju Soso, comes flying when he finds out. He asks his sister if she has gone mad, that we only have 2 barrels total, that if we give it to him, what will we use, that he is going to get the gasoline back. She tells him not to go, that I am a sequence transcendent we cannot afford to offend. He stubbornly tells her that I am just a mechanic sequence, not a combat one like team leader Chu, that they do not need to be afraid of me at all, that with Chuchiol around what can I do? He walks straight at me, and I notice the commotion and the celebrity siblings stand out, and the boy intentionally raises his voice to pressure me. Even if I were not listening, I would hear. I light a cigarette, blow smoke, and squint at him with a playful look on my lips, and he stands in front of me and tries to look composed. He calls me Mr. Chen and starts in about his sister's barrel of gasoline, and I blow a thick puff of smoke into his face, and he frowns and fans it. I raise my chin and say nothing, and he lowers his head and takes the barrel of gasoline off my motorcycle tricycle. This little episode in the middle of the convoy has the whole crowd looking over. Some watch me with schadenfreude, others look at the Jew siblings like they are idiots. In the apocalypse, offending a sequence transcendent without knowing how you will die is rare. Plenty of people want to curry favor and cannot. Ju Ran watches the whole thing from a distance, not stopping her brother. When I look at her, she turns her head away, feeling a little guilty, and I do not care much about the barrel. If it is taken, it is taken. She is not the only one with gasoline. I walk to Chuchiel, and the barefoot man smiles gently, and he offers me a discount, 18 pounds of rice for a barrel. And I tell him no, that he is too greedy. He chuckles and points out that Joe Ran will not trade with me, but he will, that he is helping me and I am calling him greedy. I shake my head and tell him I want to trade information for gasoline, and he says worthless information cannot buy a barrel, and I tell him it is guaranteed valuable, a method to deal with anomalies. His expression instantly turns serious, and he asks if I am telling the truth. I tell him, of course, that black dog blood, while it cannot kill an anomaly, can have a certain effect, and his pupils dilate. He murmurs that, of course, why did he not think of it? That even if it cannot kill, having an effect is already powerful. And he tells me the information is worth a barrel of gasoline. He also wants my solar charging panel, contingent on how much effect black dog blood actually has. And we talk past the panel. Watching me extract a barrel of gasoline from team leader Chu, with just a few words, the Jew siblings look at each other, both seeing the same idiom in the other's eyes, deeply surprised and uncertain. I find Nana next. In this convoy, the strongest combatant is not the still recovering Titan sequence, but this young sword immortal. If not for her, Big Fool would have died long ago. Her first question is what I plan to do about Juran and them. And I shrug. What can I do? They are not the only ones with gasoline. I add that I do not believe her, that none of you men are good. Who knows what schemes you are cooking up? And the sword immortal's eyes show 3 words. I do not believe it. All right then. I tell her I plan to trade for a knife with her, and I repeat to her what I told Chu Chel, and her reaction matches his. Very surprised. I trade the same information for a knife. The knife is an outdoor chai knife, blade and handle a little over 40 centimeters, wooden grip, dark black blade, thick spine, solid in the hand, and the sheath is a leather cover that hangs on the waist. Nana tells me the chai knife is a Japanese brand. Before the apocalypse, it ran around 3,001, 5,000 on the secondary market. When I take a fancy to it, her face shows a pained expression. On the black dog blood method, I have no intention of keeping it secret. Humanity is at a clear disadvantage. Over 90% of us have been lost in a few months. Any piece of information that can deal with anomalies is valuable, and I do not mind spreading it, and I do not go to the bus to trade. I want the 2 kilowatt-hour outdoor power bank, but Big Fool is still asleep, and no one can make the call. And the Jew siblings, meanwhile, are startled, and they do not know what I said to Chuchiel and Nana. They just saw me say a few words and walk away with a barrel of gasoline and an outdoor chai knife. Joe Soso recognizes the chai knife from Nana, having wanted it for a long time, having been priced out, and he is a little confused. I also received 2 small bags of black dog blood. 2 black dogs in the convoy are kept by survivors, and getting the dogs would have been hard for me, but easy for Chu Chiel, and he trades chocolate and sausages for them. I return to my motorcycle tricycle, and a few pieces of women's clothing have been traded off my stall. The loudspeaker on Chu Chiel's modified off-road announces that the convoy departs in 15 minutes, and anxiety jumps in the survivors who have not finished trading. And I unhurriedly pull a bundle of crossbow bolts from the cargo bed. Most are homemade and rough, better than nothing, and the standard bolts ran out long ago. With the chai knife I can clean them up. This Japanese brand chai knife is very useful. Finally, I dump the adjusted bolts into the bag of black dog blood, tie it tight, and toss it into a corner of the cargo bed. The convoy starts. Leading is Chu Chiel's off-road, then Nana's, then the bus. So far I've not seen a third sequence transcendent. I follow behind the bus, becoming the 4th most important person in the convoy. Further back is the celebrity sister's car. In her car, Ju Ran asks her brother if he found out what I said to Pathfinder Chu and Nana, and she is now regretting it. And she gave away the gasoline, then had her brother take it back. She can only blame herself for being dizzy at the time, for being unable to part with the barrel. But things are what they are now, and she and her brother have offended me. When I, with just a few words, walked off with a barrel of gasoline and a chai knife, she went a little pale. Joe Soso tells her that Uncle Abo, that old fox, said he did not know, and even said he was your fan last time. He is a fake fan. He complains as he drives. Old Lee drives the bus. Uncle Abo drives Chu Chiel's off-road. Both cars carry 3 people, their own small groups. Joe Soso went to inquire and got nothing, which makes him dissatisfied. He tells her he knows she is worried that since they have offended me they will not be able to survive in the convoy, and she does not speak. He smiles and tells her in a relaxed tone what is there to be afraid of, that they have survived on their own this whole time, that every supply run was a near-death experience, and that is why they live better than others. The gasoline was hard-earned, why give it to me? And they do not need others to protect them, they rely on themselves. As he says this, he looks proud. She reaches out and taps his forehead, and her chest is uneasy anyway. I refuel the motorized tricycle with the gasoline from Chu Chiel, and the engine shakes alive, and the tricycle moves. Today the convoy speeds up a notch, maybe making up for the morning's lost time. At the front, Chu Chiel occasionally steps out, picks up a handful of sand, tastes it, then he points a safe direction, and the Pathfinder sequence in action. When I used to follow at the very back, I never saw this scene. By afternoon, Chu Chiao calls for rest, and I take supplies out of the motorcycle's sidecar and begin to cook. I have not eaten rice in days, and I am a little greedy today. Many people did not come out of Manhwa town, but those who did came out heavy, and a blood moon hangs overhead. With food in everyone's stomachs, the camp does not feel as sad. Just as I finish, Uncle Abu comes to tell me Iron Lion has woken up. When I see this legendary Titan sequence big fool, I am startled. And the day at the supermarket I saw his arm cut off at the shoulder. Today the arm has grown back a section. Is this also a sequence transcendence ability? Nana and Chuchiol are not surprised. Iron Lion looks slightly surprised at me. He tells me, lying on the bed, that if not for my arrow that day he would have died. I tell him honestly that if not for him, I would have died too. If Iron Lion had not blocked the white-clothed scissor woman that day, only a few of us would have made it out. He introduces himself as Iron Lion, Flesh Titan sequence, and he says flesh regeneration is the basic ability of the Flesh Titan, then laughs, asking if it is amazing. He has heard I am mechanic sequence and tells me that is great, that from now on when cars break down in the convoy we do not have to abandon them. He is a chatterbox with too many extra words. After Chuchal tells him about black dog blood, Iron Lion thanks me too, and the convoy follows fairness, so this is not free. He asks what I want, and the 2 kilowatt-hour power bank, and he tells me okay, that he will have old Lee bring it over later. Like that, my convoy gains a power bank and I am one step closer to converting the motorcycle into a hybrid gas-electric tricycle. The next few days are monotonous and leisurely. Sometimes the convoy goes east, sometimes we move forward half a day, and end up back at the starting point by evening. At first some people complain. Chuchel steps out and tells them anyone unwilling to follow the convoy can leave. No one opposes after that, and the route looks like a madman's. Only a few sequence transcendents look serious. Chuchel explains that several anomalies have been searching for the convoy's traces, and at the most dangerous times anomalies were less than 3 kilometers away. Without the Pathfinder sequence, the whole convoy would be dead. Whenever we rest, I find time to cut branches or bamboo for crossbow bolts. With the chai knife, my efficiency jumps. Once a bolt is shaped, I coat the shaft with black dog blood. My quiver now holds over 100, and the convoy's 2 black dogs are listless all day from being bled. Tomorrow we reach Jiangsu village, Chuchel tells us at the night meeting, and the convoy's supplies are running low, and we plan to scavenge there. Faces twist between terror and expectation. Aside from a few sequence transcendents, the convoy is running on fumes. If we cannot resupply, there will be a riot, and I light a cigarette and run the math. In this apocalypse, the rule is the more prosperous a city used to be, the more we fear it now. Several super cities are no living zones. Small villages still offer some opportunities. I have plenty of bolts and might earn a lot of killing points, and the system told me before there is a way to awaken my true sequence, but it requires 3,000. Then a terrified scream rips through the whole camp, someone yelling there is an anomaly. The scream is like a drop of cold water in a boiling pot, and the silent night erupts into chaos. Women scream, children cry, men shout, people start packing to flee. In a blink, a sword light shoots out, and a very tall man also rushes toward the scream. Iron Lion and Nana, and the sequence transcendents have moved. The camp is in disarray, and the psychological shadow anomalies have left on survivors is a nightmare. Juran and Jusoso look nervously toward the disturbance, faces panicked. I grab my crossbow, load a black dog blood bolt, and stand ready. Under the blood moon, the distant woods are shadowy, looking closer. Dozens of ghostly figures are densely packed within the woods, and my scalp tingles. If these are all anomalies, no one in the camp makes it out alive tonight. Can Chu Chiel not sense the aura of anomalies? How could he let them get this close? Then a dark figure emerges from the shadows, and a low, weak voice asks us to save them, and a strong flashlight lights up the figure. In the beam stands a person in rags, much of the clothing torn, only one shoe left. This is a person, not an anomaly, and we breathe out. Now I understand why Chuchil did not detect them. As a sequence pathfinder and danger sensor, he perceives most anomalies, but humans are not as obvious, and they are humans. Then a second person appears, and a third. Dozens of figures appear in front of everyone, dressed in rags, haggard, all survivors. Chuchal has appeared in front of the crowd, looking at them warily, asking who they are, and the leader says they escaped from Yuk City. Yuk City is gone. Dozens of dark figures sob mournfully, and I am stunned. Then my heart sinks. Yuk City could not compare to international first-tier cities like Sango, but it was a well-known second-tier city famous for tourism and food, and I once thought of taking my girlfriend there for a few days. Now it is gone, and I had anticipated it. If a city like Sango has become a forbidden zone, Yuk City cannot escape the same fate. But hearing it from someone in person still hits hard. The camp, which had just calmed, erupts again. Someone shouts about Yuk City being gone. Someone else asks if humanity is hopeless. Someone wails for parents stuck there. The story comes out fast. Yuk City is overrun. These people had been hiding in an underground parking garage and could not bear it any longer and escaped. Originally 200, now dozens. I sidle up to Chochel and ask whether these people will attract anomalies, and he glances at me, surprised at his new nickname, Old Chew. He squats, grabs a handful of dirt, puts it into his mouth like a delicacy. About 10 seconds in, he opens his eyes and nods to Nana, so that is him activating his ability, confirming the group has no tails. The sequence transcendence abilities are truly miraculous. Chu Chiel senses anomalies just by eating dirt. Iron Lion's severed arm grows back. The system once told me that if I accumulate 3,000 killing points, it will tell me how to awaken my sequence. 3,000. When will I have enough? Chu Chiel tells them that joining is fine, but they must follow the rules, and the leading dark figure says they will obey anything. He tells them the only rule is fairness, that new arrivals get 1 day's food free, and after that they support themselves, and the dark figures look at each other and say nothing. He walks off without looking back. The convoy was originally 200, half were lost at Hunghua town, and with the new arrivals the count climbs back over 100. I take a long look at the new dark figures and return to my vehicle, and the camp gets busy. Chu Chiel picks middle-aged women to help cook. The meal is plain porridge and pickles. I lie in the truck bed wrapped in clothes and start to doze, thinking that the more prosperous big cities used to be, the more dangerous they are now, and remote villages are relatively safer, but not to be careless. I need rest, then more killing points at the next stop, hopefully enough to break 3,000 and unlock the sequence awakening method. Then I hear an unfamiliar female voice loudly insist that it is not fair, asking why all the women are doing the work, why the men are not doing anything, accusing the convoy of discriminating against women. I sit up in the back of my three-wheeled motorcycle and look toward the voice. A slightly plump woman with a round face, small eyes, and a pointed chin is standing there. Everyone is looking, and she glares at me as her eyes sweep past. I touch my nose. This woman must be sick, and I light a cigarette and blow rings, ready to watch a show. Team leader Chu is not me. Let him handle it. Chu Chiel looks at her with amusement and asks what she thinks fairness would look like. Her eyes dart and she says straight, "It is the apocalypse. This is when men are needed, letting women cook while men enjoy the benefits." How is he a team leader? Maybe because Chu Chiel always presents as a good-natured man, or maybe because she just arrived in a new environment and wants attention. Women in the convoy perk up. The newcomers quietly move closer to her, and the women cooking glare at her like she is trying to snatch their livelihood but say nothing. Chu Chiel glances at Nana. Nana rolls her eyes, hugs her longsword, and turns to leave. Chu Chiel smiles gently and tells the cooking women, "Since that is how it is, Sister Joe, you all rest. Uncle Abo, pick a few men to cook." Uncle Abo nods and goes into the crowd to select, and the woman who stood up for fairness realizes something is wrong, and the displaced cooks glare at her with bitter resentment. After Uncle Abo gives the order, many men rush over, raising hands and shouting that they used to be chefs. Pick me, and she does not understand. She was fighting for her group's interest. Why do they look at her that way? Some still look kindly. Her plan was simple: arrive in a new environment and grab authority by representing the interests of a segment. The food is quickly prepared and the aroma spreads. The Uke City survivors are starving with green eyes, would not have glanced at this plain porridge and pickles before, but now this is the most delicious thing in the world. Even the original survivors swallow. Most of the convoy is short on supplies and will starve if no resupply comes. And I blow a smoke ring and feel a little interested. The show is about to start. After the meal, all the men who help receive a small piece of bread from Chu Chiel. The woman who spoke up earlier watches them happily collect bread and goes stunned. Slap, and a slap echoes in the quiet night. A middle-aged woman with permed hair has slapped her hard across the face, snarling that if not for her, that bread would be hers, that she has not eaten all day, and it is all because of her. Another shouts good hit, that if not for this woman, team leader Chu would not have given the opportunity to others. Kill her. Before she can react, another woman grabs her hair. She gets out a half sentence about doing it for their own good, before the punches start. I roll over and lie back in my vehicle, looking at the starry sky. The firelight on my brow, and a blood moon hangs nearby, and I have no urge to look up at it. I finally understand. Do not let Chu Chiel's quiet demeanor fool you, and he had this thought already. He had probably already noticed people running out of supplies, so he gave them an opportunity to work. Then this woman jumped out, so he went with the flow and let her get crushed. This team leader is not simple. The woman's screams are right beside my ear, and it is already the apocalypse, and some people still have not adjusted, and they deserve it. And I lie comfortably in the back. Sleeping in the bed is much better than the ground, and the convoy continues forward. According to Chu Chiel, we will reach Jiangsu village in 2 more days, a carefully picked resupply target. At dawn, I light a small flame, pour half a bottle of mineral water into a pot, add a cup of rice, cover it, wait for it to cook. With the chai knife I traded from Nana, I cut a few slices of cured meat. Throw them in with a little oil, then add some wild vegetables I picked from the roadside days ago. Stir-fried cured meat with wild vegetables takes shape, and my cooking is ordinary, but in this environment a meal like this is rare, and the new survivors sniff. Their meal is still plain porridge and pickles. Compared to mine it is heaven and earth, and I am too lazy to bother. When the rice is nearly done, I pour the stir-fry directly in and eat. Finally someone breaks. An old woman leads a small child up to me. looks at me pitifully, and asks me to share with her grandson, says he has not eaten meat in a long time and malnutrition is bad for his health. Before I can answer, the child has already reached for my rice bowl, trying to snatch it, and my expression goes dark. And I have seen bratty kids. I have not seen one this annoying, and I have not agreed, and his hand is already on the bowl, and the bowl stays motionless in my hand. The grandmother does not seem to notice, still smiling fawningly, and the brat's sharp cries ring in my ear. Gimme, I want to eat. On, and my patience for children is thin. For bratty children it is thinner. Before, with cameras everywhere, I would have been careful. Now I have many ways to make a brat shut up. Smack, and the slap is heavy, and the brat spins like a top and lands on his bottom. Then he starts wailing. In the old woman's eyes, her grandson is well behaved and adorable. He just wanted to eat. He just tried to snatch it, and I did not give it. So it is no big deal. But this big young man not only argued with her grandson, he slapped him, and hard, and the red swollen handprint makes her heart ache. Many people are watching. Ju Soso watches me with an expression of someone enjoying a show, but talks to her sister, telling her I am too much, that giving me a barrel of gasoline was a complete waste, and that it is good she took it back. In his mind I went overboard, but he is just a child. Even if I refused, why slap him, and his evaluation of me drops several more levels. Jo-ran looks around, finds no one paying attention, and complains in a low tone, telling her brother what nonsense, that it is clearly that child who is ill-behaved, that he is such a small child, what do I expect, and that I am a sequence transcendent, not someone to offend. Her brother snorts, that a child is also a person, not an animal. As a big star before the apocalypse, Jo-ran has experienced more than her brother. If it were her, she might have chosen to give, just like the famous saying, he is just a child. Deep down, though, she becomes more wary of me, even wondering if not stopping her brother from grabbing back the gasoline was a mistake, and I am a sequence transcendent. Her brother rolls his eyes and asks her what I will do about this. Chu Chi-al watches with amusement, eyes full of playfulness. Iron Lion scratches his head and says he does not know, but he is still a child and does not understand. Nana snorts coldly, asking what about a child? A child is also a person. Does being a child mean they can do whatever they want? That before the apocalypse some children were no less hateful than demons. Iron Lion is speechless. Titan sequence transcendents always seem bad at words. I look at the grandmother and grandson indifferently, and the child cries and reaches for his grandmother to hug him. Grandma calls him her poor good grandson. Eyes red, but the chubby boy is too heavy and she cannot lift him, so she has to lead him up by the hand. The child stands wailing behind her, feels emboldened by being behind her, and glares at me again. The grandmother starts in on me about being young and not knowing to respect the old and care for the young. Asks how my parents taught me, how my school taught me. Says she will make me regret it. Without thinking, I stand up, raise my foot, and kick the child glaring at me from behind her. The child flies out like a broken sack. Grandma cries jang jang, wailing as she runs, and the child slides 2 or 3 meters before stopping, and the wailing echoes through the camp. Everyone is dumbfounded. Grandma calls his name over and over, and the child cries, "Grandma, it hurts," and I did not hold back, and the brat's face is bleeding, several front teeth knocked out. When he opens his mouth to cry, his front teeth are gone, and the scene of grandson and grandmother crying in each other's arms unfolds quickly, and she glares at me and tells me he is still a child. I snort and tell her, some children are children, some children are just animals, and her face flushes. Before the apocalypse, whenever the brat caused trouble, she could use that phrase to gain moral ground. Some people would swallow their anger, others would not know how to retort. She had not expected it to fail completely in the apocalypse against me. Many people feel a secret satisfaction, and they had escaped Yuke City with the grandmother and grandson and had been angered by the pair's behavior. The pair survived only because people kept caring for them, and later everyone saw through their character, and no one bothered. If the convoy had not appeared, in not too long, the pair would not have survived. She decides to fight me, and I am not polite. Bang, and I kick her flying again. She stumbles 3 or 5 meters back and lands on her bottom. Unable to get up for a while, everyone is stunned. Some look at me with disdain. Jo Soso tugs her sister's sleeve and whispers that I am a scoundrel who does not even spare old people and children, and she does not know why. Before she thought I was a coward, and now she is a little afraid of me. Seeing my gaze come her way, she quickly avoids it, her heart thumping. Some, though, highly praise the action. Nana, with her hand on her sword, says she did not expect me to do that it is much to her liking. Like a real man, Iron Lion scratches his head and stays quiet. Nana glances at him and snorts coldly, asking if he is saying young people should respect the old and care for the young. Calls him a meathead. Says the legend that Titan sequence reduces intelligence seems true. Complains about old folks crowding the train cars at dawn to snatch eggs, like Lin Dayu when they get on and Yuke Jishen when they get off. Drawing pensions several times hers, dancing in plazas all night long. And about brats. She seems deeply troubled. Iron Lion's mouth opens, lost for words. Chu Chiel claps and says, "All right, let us go." And I walk slowly to the child, and the child tries to hide behind his grandmother, and the old woman shields him and asks what I want. I chuckle and ask whether she is planning to settle the score with me when her son or others return, and their expressions tell me I am right. I keep chuckling and say it is the apocalypse, that those who are not here now might never be here again, and ask the child if he understands. Her face goes pale, and the child pouts, then wails, so heartbroken. The convoy starts moving fast, and I pack up and start my motorized tricycle. After days of travel, the gas is low. If I cannot find gas tomorrow, I might have to switch to manual mode. And the motorized tricycle jolts to a start, and the grandmother and grandson are still crying and throwing tantrums. No one steps forward. Even the woman who was boxing yesterday keeps her head down, realizing there is no benefit. The pair slowly get up, and she casts venomous glances at me. When I look back, she pretends to look elsewhere, and the child, when I look at him, shivers in fear and avoids my eyes. It is already early November, and the weather is turning cold. Riding the motorized tricycle, I feel the chill on my face. Next supply run, I should gather warm clothing or risk freezing to death in winter. The motorized tricycle also needs modifications: a roof on a cargo bed for an enclosed space, a roof on the front. I never want to be caught in the rain again like a few days ago, and the killing points needed are not small, and the current power is also insufficient. If it could be converted to 3-wheel or 4-wheel drive, that would be better. Thankfully, I have plenty of bolts this time. Once Jiangsu village starts and I start a massacre, I will get a lot of killing points. Although my motorized tricycle is not an off-road or a bus, it is still better than what many others have. The new survivors who joined last night only have 1 car and 2 motorcycles. Most have no transport at all, not even a bicycle, and the convoy's daily speed is not high, so walkers can keep up. Iron Lion's bus is full again. In Manhwa town, nearly half were lost, and with last night's replenishment, the bus is full, and the big guy is soft-hearted. Chuchel and Nana's off-roads did not take in any new people, keeping a 3-person configuration, and my motorized tricycle has drawn attention. Given my previous attitude, most stay wary. The first day's journey ends. By evening, team leader Chu finds a safe shelter, and a blood moon has risen, dyeing the world a faint crimson. Dinner is plain porridge, and pickles thin enough to see my reflection in. Many protest. Chu Chel answers with 1 sentence. Anyone unsatisfied can leave at any time, and I still cook for myself. Even though it is not particularly good, many salivate over my plate. Large pieces of cured meat, large portions of rice. Not far away, a pair of resentful eyes occasionally looks over. Whenever I look back, the faces look nonchalant. I frown. Besides the grandmother and grandson, I should not have offended anyone else. Who exactly resents me? This is not my imagination. At night, I sleep in the cargo bed, lined with clothes, comfortable, and I light a cigarette, and the nicotine eases the day's fatigue. It has been many days since I showered, and I have forgotten the feeling of hot water on my body. If I could find a place to shower, it would be a great pleasure. Before the apocalypse, I showered daily. Now my skin has even grown a layer of thick grime. Before I can fall asleep, Uncle Abo arrives and tells me Team Leader Chu has asked me to a meeting, and I follow him to the largest tent. Several people are already seated. Team Leader Chu Che, young sword immortal Nana, and the 2-meter Iron Lion, and his severed arm has fully recovered. And the innate ability of the Titan sequence, powerful regenerative power. Iron Lion pats the seat next to him with a simple-minded grin, telling me to come sit. Maybe because everyone was fleeing in Manhwa town and I dared shoot that arrow, the big guy has a very good impression of me. After a brief exchange, the meeting begins. Chu Chel pours me a cup of tea and tells me that among the new survivors, one named Seo Gyogyo is troublesome, that according to what he knows, she was a feminist blogger before the apocalypse, that she has already connected with over a dozen people in the camp and seems to be planning something. His tone is unhurried, like he is talking about an unrelated matter, his gentle expression unchanged. Nana says with dissatisfaction that she cannot believe it is the apocalypse, and these people still cannot settle down, that the world is completely different, and she asks me and Iron Lion what we think. Iron Lion scratches his head and chuckles. Whatever you say to do, I will do. I will listen to you. Nana rolls her eyes and turns to me. I chuckle and say, mere clowns, that before the apocalypse, without the sequence transcendence, these people probably would not survive a day. And I ask Chuchil if he is not going to talk about that. I drink his tea in 1 gulp. In the current situation, getting a cup of tea is no easy task, so every time I come I drink as much as I can, and the other 2 have the same idea. Their cups are also empty. Chu Chio pretends not to notice. Even he does not have much tea now. He says indeed that I am not talking about that according to my estimate we should reach Jiangsu village tomorrow morning, that I called you here to discuss tomorrow's plan. Faces grow serious. Pre-apocalypse villages have all become forbidden zones, harboring endless dangers. One careless mistake could lead to death, like in Manhwa town, and the convoy was reduced by half there. Chu Chiel takes out a radio and fiddles with it, and I am confused. Why pull out a radio when we are talking Jiangsu village? Seeing my curious look, Nana next to me explains that this is an eavesdropping radio, serial number 01257, a wondrous item that I can understand as an apocalypse magic weapon. Wondrous items often possess incredible abilities. Team leader's eavesdropping radio is very magical, and she explains while looking enviously at the radio, and I ask about the serial number. She says yes, the serial number is also a ranking. The top 100 wondrous items all have incredible abilities. Team leader's ranks outside the top 1,000, but even so, it is an extraordinary treasure. I will see in a moment. I feel a little uneasy, and the apocalypse has only begun a few months ago, yet the current hand has already reached over 1,000. Who made this numbering ranking? Nana looks 17 or 18. How does she know so much? Before I can think more, Chu Chel looks up and says, "All right, static." A voice on the radio welcomes me to the Fairness Convoy channel and gives the current time as 8:35 at night, the 5th of November, 2030. Fairness Convoy, and the first time I hear the team's name, and the radio's reporter says Jiangsu village is just 10 kilometers ahead, and it introduces the village in detail. There are 17 Jiangsu villages across the country. This one is not very well known. The village is so named because an elder lived to 127 years old, and the information is accurate. If it were a famous village, we would not dare to use it as a supply point, and the radio sounds like a real host briefing us. No wonder this thing is a wondrous item. But why is it called the eavesdropping radio? According to inquiries by the radio's reporter, the village has 357 villagers, 112 households, covering roughly 2,000 mu. 3 months ago, a strangeness erupted, and everyone died. Not a single villager survived. Silence. In a village of over 300, not a single survivor. Too many villages like this exist now. Even Sango probably has under 1% of its population alive. Now I understand why Chu Chel brought out the eavesdropping radio. And it collects information. The radio continues. Jiangsu village has relatively complete supplies. Under the great willow tree in the center of the village is a small supermarket, with enough supplies a key collection point. There are many reserve grains in the village chief's cellar. A secondary collection point. Each villager's home has reserved food, and the well at the entrance is uncontaminated. The village currently, then static, then the radio recovers. There are over 100 strange entities in the village. Based on the team's current strength, the danger rating is SSS. Without this, rushing into Jiangsu village would waste time, and wasting time in a village full of strangeness equals wasting your life. Throughout, Chu Chiel's expression has puzzled me, and he stares intently at the radio, demeanor nervous, as if it might turn into a strange entity in the next second. After the broadcast, he lets out a long sigh of relief, and he turns to me and asks whether I will operate with them or alone in Jiangsu. I tell him without hesitation that I want to act together, and I am only a pseudo-sequence transcendent now, and an auxiliary at that. Acting alone is suicide. The good luck of Hunghua Town last time will not continue. He proposes 30% to him, 30 to Nana, 20 each to me and Iron Lion, and his role is irreplaceable, otherwise the whole team is gone. Nana gets 30% because, I learn now, she is actually a Sword Immortal Sequence 2-edge sharpening realm swordsman, with combat power stronger than Iron Lion's. As for me, 20% because the mechanic sequence is indispensable. I have no objections. Plans begin to be formulated. On arrival, Chu Chiel will not participate, and the action is Nana, Iron Lion, and me. We hit the small supermarket under the great willow tree, then the village chief's cellar. Just as we wrap up, Chu Chiel's familiar voice comes from the eavesdropping radio. The radio replays his voice grumbling, "That dead girl Nana, she looks delicate, but is like a mischievous monkey all day. Neither male nor female. Before the apocalypse, no one would want her. And that Iron Lion, that big fool, I really do not know how his brain grew. Everyone says the cost of the Titan sequence is a decrease in intelligence, but to be this stupid is truly bizarre. That new guy who joined, he is ill-tempered and a bit gloomy. I really do not know what he thinks about all day. This guy definitely was not a good person before the apocalypse. I even saw him hit old people and children with my own eyes. My goodness, what kind of oddballs do I have in my team? And that female star Ju Ran, she looked pretty good on TV, but in real life she is just so-so." Now I understand why his expression was so nervous when he took out the radio. The eavesdropping radio does not just eavesdrop on targets, it eavesdrops on the holder too, and he really did not know when he said those things, and the radio caught them. So when everyone is most relaxed and most present, it plays them, and the scene goes silent. When the eavesdropping radio started, Chu Chiel took a piece of clothing and covered it, utterly useless. He looks at the three of us, and for the first time an awkward expression appears on his usually calm face. So team leader Chu said I am ill-tempered and gloomy, and that I am not a good person. Nana's face is extremely gloomy, and she asks if neither male nor female is talking about her. Iron Lion's face is full of grievance. Says that although the Titan sequence is not smart, it is not stupid either, and certainly not bizarre. Asks if his conscience hurts. Team leader Chu's mouth twitches. Just as he is about to explain, he sees the ill-tempered Sword Immortal start to draw her long sword. When team leader Chu leaves the tent, he has a black eye on each side. Nana pushes Iron Lion and me aside and stomps out fuming. And I shoot Chu Chiel a serves you right look and leave. The convoy starts. Chu Chiel's off-road is at the very front, then Nana's, then mine. then Iron Lion's bus, then the others. Today's speed is a little faster, since we are trying to reach Jiangsu village earlier, and the convoy stretches into a long winding snake. At the very end are the walkers. Some carry packs, some carry nothing. I always feel a pair of venomous eyes watching me every time I look back. Nothing. After a few times I stop bothering, and I light a premium cigarette. The radio's note from earlier, about the Titan sequence cost being lower intelligence, sits in my head. If that is true, does every sequence have its own cost? What did Nana of Sword Immortal sequence pay? What did Chuchel's cost of Foulmouth? And it is possible. Also, the eavesdropping radio is very useful for analyzing Jiangsu village clearly. It also caused Chuchel to suffer social death in front of so many people. Clearly, the eavesdropping radio also has side effects. Does every wondrous item have side effects? I file the information away. My understanding of sequence transcendence has all come in 2 days. Every piece is crucial, and I grip the handlebars with one hand, discard the burned cigarette, light another. I am a heavy smoker and still have plenty of cigarettes from Hunhua town, and I have no concept of conserving, and the fuel gauge shows empty. Then loud exclamations come from the group. A village, there is a village ahead, and the clamor feels familiar. When we discovered Hunhua town, we had the same situation. Chuchel's off-road suddenly accelerates. Nana's follows. I twist the throttle, but the motorized tricycle still chugs along, and the fuel tank is dry, and the bus accelerates past, leaving me behind, and I can see Iron Lion's simple smiling face inside. Then the other 2 vehicles catch up. After days of trekking, supplies are gone. I arrive at the village entrance after everyone else, and the village makes a chill run down my spine. All the survivors, regardless of gender or age, stand at the entrance, fear in their eyes yet also eagerness, and it is bright midday. The sun is high. Yet the village is gloomy, as if sunlight cannot enter. And it is the same world, but Jiangsu village is in another dimension. And a hint of solemnity crosses my face. Why does Jiangsu village feel even more terrifying than Hunhua town? Joe Soso tells his sister he feels a chill emanating from the heart, and he looks down and finds a layer of dense goosebumps on the back of his hand. He says maybe they should not go. Ju Ran feels the same as her brother. Just looking at Jiangsu village makes her uncomfortable. He says they are out of supplies, that this morning they both ate a packet of instant noodles, that they do not have much gasoline left, that Jiangsu village is their only chance, that if they do not collect supplies, he does not finish, and she is not lying, everything he says is true. Without gasoline, only death awaits. Although the village does not look like it has a gas station, they still have to try, and she unconsciously looks at me. No matter what, I am still a sequence transcendent. If I take care of them, perhaps their chances of escaping Jiangsu village safely are higher, but the siblings have already offended me beyond repair. Team leader Chu, with sunglasses and a megaphone, announces the current time is 11 in the morning, that we must be out of Jiangsu village before 4 in the afternoon. No waiting for those who are late. Faces twist, some terrified, some hesitating, some with bulging cheeks looking fiercely in. From where I stand, I see an incredibly tall willow tree in the middle of the village. Very large, abnormally large, drooping willow branches like a woman's disheveled hair, and my eyes narrow slightly and a figure has appeared at the entrance. A hunchback leaning on a walking stick, trying hard to turn his face toward us. Because of his hunch, he seems to exert a lot of effort, and he chuckles. The laugh is eerie and terrifying. That is a person. There is someone at the village entrance. Oh my god, are there still living people? Because of the figure, all the survivors get restless. In a place where living people should not exist, there is one, and an old one at that. And the scene is strange no matter how you view it. I turn to Nana, and the young Sword Immortal's expression shows a hint of solemnity. She says the eavesdropping radio said there are no living people in this village. The hunchbacked old puppet slowly turns and walks step by step toward the village, vanishing one step at a time. The survivors look at each other, and for a moment it is eerily quiet. Iron Lion tells me in his muffled voice to stick close, then strides into the village. I grip the crossbow and follow the big fool, not minding the change in address from Brother Yope to Yopi. A simple quiver sits at my waist filled with bolts soaked in black dog blood. On my back is a large backpack lifted off the bicycle and carried by hand now. Iron Lion has countless empty bags of various sizes hanging off him. The roads in Jiangsu village are too narrow for vehicles, so collection runs on foot. Looking in from outside, the great willow tree in the center does not look that far, and I follow the big fool, watching everywhere. The young Sword Immortal also has a big backpack on her back, her right hand on her sword, her long legs moving with a peculiar rhythm. Soon other survivors fall in behind us. First is a lewd old man, the one who acted first back in Hunhua town. Most of the convoy is young, with very few elderly. This old man is one of them, and somehow he is still alive. At the village entrance, many survivors look at each other, greed and hesitation in their eyes. Jiangsu village clearly has problems. No one can guarantee anyone who goes in comes out. But not going in means no supplies. In this apocalypse, supplies are everything. Jo Soso carries a large package and quickly follows, telling her sister it is safer to stay close. Ju Ran hesitates but follows. She wants to say something, but he interrupts and tells her not to overthink it, that if things really go wrong, he does not believe I will not save them, and if I do not, the other two will not just watch them die, that she is a big star. Zhu Ran is not as optimistic and she watches me, her gaze complex. The grandmother tells her grandson not to worry. Grandma will go find him something to eat, that he should wait outside obediently, and the brat cries and clutches her leg, telling her not to go. She tells the foolish child if grandma does not go, what will he eat? That it is the apocalypse and these bastards will not pity him. And the pair are the ones I disciplined before. They have not fallen behind or starved during a migration. Somewhat of a miracle. As time passes, the convoy has recognized their true nature. The brat steals from people, spits if refused, and the grandmother appears with the same line. He is just a child, and the convoy is disgusted. No one offers help anymore. Grandma can only rely on herself, she tells him, to find food for her good grandson. That he must remember, if grandma does not come back, everyone here is a murderer. That when he grows up, he must remember to avenge her. That if not for them not giving the pair anything to eat, she would not have to take risks, especially that Jin Yop, that he must remember that face. The brat wails. Team leader Chu, not far off, looks over here and reaches to cover the radio with a blanket. All movements in the convoy fall under the eavesdropping radio's range. He sighs that people who commit evil cannot live. Not far away, a woman with a round face and a pointed chin lowers her head, her hair covering her face, expression unreadable. Not everyone has the courage to go in. More than half the convoy stands at the entrance, mostly women. As long as they can bring back supplies, they live a superior life inside the convoy. Chu Chiol does not forbid this. Everything is a fair transaction, and I light a cigarette to relieve the pressure. This is not the first time I have entered such a place. Every time, though, my heart still pounds. The cigarette clenched between my teeth, a crossbow in my hand, a chai knife at my waist, and the moment I step in, goosebumps appear on my hand. The bright sunny weather instantly feels like deep night, and the sun is still in the sky but a layer of black gauze covers it. Inside the village and outside the village are two different worlds. The young sword immortal tightens her sword and tells me to be careful, that this is a ghost domain, and I ask what a ghost domain is. She explains it is a special domain formed by a certain power, in which even during the day the probability of strange occurrences is higher, and my face turns dark. Hunghua town did not have a ghost domain, so why does Jiangsu village, or is Jiangsu village just more dangerous? Inside the village I always feel something in the dark staring. When I look closely there is nothing, only a dark gloomy expanse, and the hunchbacked old puppet has vanished. Survivors have already started eyeing the two houses at the entrance. Both small mud brick houses look like they have not been lived in for a long time, doors corroded enough to push open. Two survivors with steel pipes tiptoe in, hoping to find half a bag of rice or flour, a fortune in their state, and they push open the door. A dark black opening appears before them, and the two swallow, look at each other, walk side by side into the house, and their legs are trembling, and I notice them too. Our target is the great willow tree, not these civilian houses, and I watch the two walk into the house, and then there is no then. The house is like the gaping maw of a giant beast, silently swallowing them, without a sound. A man in glasses cannot stand the pressure and turns and runs for the entrance. Zhou Ran and Zhu Soso see it, and step 2 more steps forward, hearts pounding. The disappearance of the two does not affect our progress. Neither Nana nor I stop. The deeper we go, the more pressure the survivors feel. A strange sense of dread. There are many civilian houses on both sides, many of them with doors open. The room's pitch black. Some survivors keep following, others hesitate. Going deeper might not yield more supplies, but is definitely more dangerous. And entering the civilian houses is also dangerous. Among the followers, Zhu Ran and Xiao Xiao are firm. Suddenly my footsteps pause and my eyes narrow, my crossbow rising slightly. Iron Lion and Nana do the same. Up ahead is the hunchbacked old puppet. Rather than calling him an old man, he resembles a string puppet, his movements and expressions like a puppet's. He says we have arrived, and his voice is eerie, and he seems to be waiting for us, and the survivors hide behind us, and I ask first if he is from this village. He chuckles and does not answer, but eerily says he knows we are here for supplies, that there is a small supermarket under the great willow tree, with lots of supplies, that we can go take a look, that we just follow this road straight and we will reach the great willow tree supermarket, that there is a lot of good food there, a lot. He turns slowly and leaves, and the whole process is like preset code, scalp tingling. Just then I hear a faint call asking us to save him, and the voice is sometimes near, sometimes far, as if, and my expression changes and I ask Iron Lion if he heard anything. Iron Lion's face is also not good and he nods, that he heard, that someone was asking for help, that it came from that old puppet's body. Nana says that old puppet has a problem. Without thinking I raise the crossbow and put an arrow at the hunchbacked old puppet, and I have practiced a lot and my aim is decent, and the black dog blood bolt hits him squarely in the forehead. A wisp of green smoke rises and a hint of pain flashes across his face, and my heart fills with joy, and the bolt works. A system prompt appears in front of me, telling me I had dealt damage to the hunchbacked old puppet and gained 100 killing points. Before I can rejoice, he glares at me venomously, pulls the bolt from his forehead, and throws it on the ground, and the arrow has not posed any threat. Black dog blood might be useful, but its effect is limited. far less than what hit the white-clothed scissor woman in Manhwa town, where Iron Lion's contribution accounted for most of the damage. Nana shouts attack, and her sword turns into a streak of light striking the hunchbacked old puppet. Iron Lion's movement is slower, but he charges with a dangerous aura, barehanded like a fully powered bulldozer, and I pull the bowstring. Loading a second bolt, Nana's sword slices the hunchbacked old puppet into 2 pieces. Before the survivors can rejoice, no blood flows from the upper or lower halves. The 2 halves, like 2 monkeys, bounce and dodge Iron Lion's punches, then climb onto a nearby rooftop and escape. Mournful wailing comes from the direction of the hunchbacked old puppet. Save me, and the voice is incredibly chilling. Nana quickly pulls back Iron Lion, who wants to chase, telling the big fool to calm down, that collecting supplies is more important. The scene unfolds in the blink of an eye, but leaves the survivors stunned. Several feel a warm, wet sensation in their crotches. Facing the strange, even after seeing it countless times, fear still wins. A survivor screams that he is not going and runs back toward the village entrance. 2 more follow. I glance at the Jew siblings following behind us but say nothing, and the big star Jew Ran shows a faint plea and regret, then quickly hides it. Xiao Xiao lowers her head to avoid my gaze, and the 3 of us say nothing, look toward the great willow tree, and continue straight, and the atmosphere is oppressive. The village still empty. In the ghost domain everything feels heavy, like walking in another dimension. As we walk, a terrified scream comes from behind, and a Z, Aji is gone. The 3 of us turn, and it is the broken cry of a disheveled girl, and a Z is gone. Aji was just here. The girl squats and cries heartbrokenly, her cries like wind blowing from a wind tunnel, and I frown. We have not even reached the supermarket, and so many unexpected things have happened. Jiangsu village is much more dangerous than Honghua town. Zhou Ran, feeling pity, squats down and comforts her, says maybe Aji has gone back. Xiao Xiao's face flashes impatience, and the girl shakes her head frantically, her black hair swaying like snakes. She cannot be without Aji. She cannot live without Aji. Before we can react, she stands and rushes back the way we came. Zhou Ran tries to grab her, grabs only air. We say nothing and watch her leave. Every survivor who has lived this long has lost loved ones, but this is the apocalypse. Perhaps we ourselves will not make it out of Jiangsu village today. A large stone presses on every heart. I light a cigarette to relieve the pressure, and I keep feeling these things are a bit off. What is off I cannot say. When the smoke ring leaves my mouth, I suddenly ask, eerily, whether anyone in the convoy has seen that girl before. No. One pays attention. Ju Soso instinctively retorts that the girl is that. For some reason, she just wants to refute me. No reason. When she searches her memory, she is startled to find she cannot recall the girl's name, or rather, she has never seen the girl. The expressions on the faces around her also slowly change. She stiffens her neck and says, how can I be sure I have not seen the girl? That her hair was so long no one could see her face. As she speaks, her voice softens. I sneer and look at the spot where the girl disappeared and slowly say, this is Jiangsu village. For a strange girl to appear in a place like this and follow us. Does she not think there is something wrong? Xiao Xiao is about to retort again, but Zhou Ran pulls her back. Xiao Xiao swallows her frustration. I glance indifferently at the young boy, or rather the young girl, and she was clearly a girl yet was disguising herself as a boy and mingling with the convoy. I am well aware of her reasons but chose not to expose her, and it is not that I have a good temper. It is that not many people are left in this world, and if we encounter danger, using her as a shield would not be a bad idea. The young sword immortal looks around cautiously and tells us to move quickly to gather supplies and leave Jiangsu village before 4 in the afternoon, and the group suppresses their unease and continues toward the great willow tree. Looking at the great willow tree from outside, we only thought it large. Up close we realize how truly massive it is, and it would take 3 people linking arms to encircle the trunk. A willow tree this large is rare even before the apocalypse. The survivors discuss whether the willow tree is turning into a spirit. What a huge tree, how much it would be worth, that no one would want it in the apocalypse. Iron Lion, Nana, and I quicken our pace, although the other survivors do not understand why these transcendents want to come here. Following them clearly increases safety. Finally, Iron Lion, the first around the corner ahead, freezes. Nana's eyes narrow and she asks him what happened, and the big man swallows, his voice hoarse, and tells her to come, and she steps quickly and rounds the corner. As soon as she sees the full extent of the great willow tree, her body stiffens, and she trembles uncontrollably, as if she has seen something extremely terrifying. I feel a bad premonition, and the young sword immortal is the strongest combatant in the convoy. Even Iron Lion is considerably weaker. What happened? And I raise the crossbow and slow my steps. The survivors behind me look terrified and slow too, and I ask Iron Lion and Nana what they saw. Nana turns to me. Her pupils are dilated, her face filled with extreme terror, as if she has witnessed an unforgettable scene. Jin Yap, she tells me. You come, and I frown. What is wrong with them? And it does not look like they have been attacked. After thinking, I slowly move closer, and the small supermarket under the great willow tree is a must visit. My gaze slowly rounds the corner, and the view ahead opens up. Under the dim sky, the sun outside Jiangsu village seems exceptionally distant. In the center of the village is a large square, and in the middle of the square stands a very large great willow tree filling my entire field of vision. Strands of drooping green willow branches fall from the sky. If the great willow tree had appeared on a beautiful sunny afternoon, or in a scenic spot, it would be a beautiful sight, of course, if there were not bodies hanging from those green branches. Just bodies. Each end of the drooping green branches holds a body, male and female, old and young like fruits borne by this great willow tree, and they hang densely under the tree. Roughly estimating at least 100 or 200, each body is suspended by a willow branch, with no wind and no signs of life. I now understand why Iron Lion and Nana had those dumbfounded expressions. Because I wear the same one. I swallow, my body trembles, my throat dry, and yet I cannot utter a word, and my eyeballs keep twitching, and the scene before me is more chilling than the most terrifying horror movie. What happened here? What is this great willow tree? Why are those people hanging? Countless fears and mysteries surge through my mind, and a low whimper comes from behind me. My body stiffens and I rigidly turn to see Jo Ran and Ju Soso, and the sisters tightly cover their mouths to keep from alerting the unknown horror. The group of survivors behind them wear similar expressions, eyes wide, terror full. I take a deep drag from the cigarette at my lips, my teeth gnawing on the filter with a creaking sound, and the glow illuminates a small patch of chaos. I whisper that no one should look, that gathering supplies is more important. Just below the great willow tree is a small shack, with a wooden sign reading Great Willow Tree Supermarket. Next to the sign is a small door, open, and I remind them to be careful and not disturb these things. Iron Lion's massive frame cautiously moves toward the small supermarket. Nana holds her sword like a nimble cat, and I hold the crossbow, the cigarette already smoked to the filter, but I have forgotten to discard it, and the survivors behind me still look terrified but grit their teeth and follow. Finally, we arrive at the small supermarket, and we slip inside. Iron Lion and Nana each turn on flashlights, and the environment quickly comes into view, in a very ordinary small-town supermarket. Just inside the entrance is a row of glass counters, behind which is a long row of shelves carrying everything, cigarettes and liquor occupying more than half the space. To the right are rows upon rows of shelves. Compared to other small-town supermarkets, this one is not small in area. Seeing the supplies, everyone's eyes light up. An old woman hidden behind the others sees so many supplies that her legs no longer hurt, her eyes are no longer blurry, and her face fills with greed. This is the grandmother from the conflict earlier. Knowing that following the transcendence would yield something, she has quietly followed, not saying a word, minimizing her presence. Outside the supermarket, a gust of wind from nowhere starts to blow, swaying the bodies under the willow branches. The supermarket is reasonably abundant, not just instant noodles and drinks, but on the lowest shelves a good amount of rice, flour, and cooking oil. For the current survivors, that is the most scarce. There's also a good amount of tobacco and alcohol in the glass cabinet, and I drop the cigarettes into my bag without thinking, and the quantity is less than at Manhwa town. After packing a few cartons, I begin to grab other supplies. Rice first, then flour. Snacks like potato chips take up the most space and are not cost-effective. I brought 2 backpacks this time, one on the back and one on the chest, and the back one is larger, weighing dozens of pounds when full, and the smaller chest one keeps my arms free. It seems also because this is a small village supermarket, there are not many good things, but villager mountain goods are plentiful. There are also many cured meats and cured fish. I do not think, just as I am about to bag them, an old arm grabs the cured meat and cured fish from my hand, and the speed is only slightly slower than mine. I look up and see an old face glaring angrily, and I remember her, the grandmother from the pair I taught a lesson. My eyes go cold, and without a second thought I draw the chai knife and chop down. At this moment, every second is crucial, and I have no intention of reasoning. She intends to throw a tantrum and fight for it, but when she sees it as me, her fighting spirit dissipates. Seeing me draw the chai knife, she shivers in fright, withdraws her hand, gives me a resentful look, and turns to the other side. Nana witnesses the whole scene, gives me an appreciative look, and quickly gets busy, and the brief interlude with the old woman is seen by many, and they become even more wary of me. Nana is not doing much differently. Behind her is a backpack taller than her, already about half full. Seeing her nonchalant appearance, the backpack seems to have little effect. Her carrying capacity is much stronger than mine. As expected of a transcendent of the Sword Immortal Sequence 2, as for Iron Lion, this guy is now a mobile supply station. I did not see how he collected supplies in Manhwa town. This time I do, and I am shocked. And the big fool carries an enormous bag. Its volume could hold 3 of me with room to spare. Clearly the bag is specially made for situations like this. And the big fool grabs whatever he sees and throws it in without being picky. Chicken feet, spicy strips, red chili crisp, instant noodles, sausages all sweep in. A 20-pound bag of rice looks like a bag of potato chips in his hand. Everyone is busy with their own work, eyes gleaming. Some packs are already full, and people are still not satisfied. Clothing pockets and arms all filled, and I sigh inwardly at the greed. It is not safe here, and if these people, loaded with so many things, encounter danger, they might not be able to escape. The old woman who fought me earlier is now carrying 2 backpacks, seemingly intending to be like me. one chest and one back, and the two backpacks are about 70 or 80% full for her. However, she is now sitting on the ground and cannot get up at all. As for the Jew sisters, the big star has lost her former glory and is focused on collecting supplies, her backpack already full, the bag in her hand half filled. Xiao Xiao has collected less than half. Even though this small supermarket is larger than an average village or town supermarket, it cannot withstand the sheer number of survivors. Soon it is completely emptied, not even a bottle of seasoning left on any shelf. As if deliberately cleaned out, everyone has gained something. Someone says disappointedly that this is it. His backpack could hold more. Another says, after all, it is a small supermarket. It is already good to have this many supplies. Let us see if there is a warehouse. And a third snorts that this is just a small supermarket. Iron Lion's exaggerated backpack is only half full. Far from his goal, Nana's backpack is also 70% full, and she still has another backpack she has not taken out yet. She taps her backpack. Dissatisfied, this time's harvest is far below expected. Iron Lion scratches his head and says he can still carry more, but there is nothing left here. Should we go to the village chief's house? Even I hesitate. To go back like this is unwilling, and the three of us briefly discuss and decide to head to the village chief's house. We saw a very impressive large villa not far away. Presumably that is it, and not far from the small supermarket. Hearing the three transcendents plan to go to the village chief's house, some survivors who have already collected enough are dissatisfied. Some say do not go, this village does not feel right no matter how you look at it. It is better to go back early. Other slower survivors show displeasure, that they have not found anything yet, that if those people want to go back they should, and the Jew sisters will definitely continue with us. They have managed to live well in the convoy by taking bold risks. Seeing an argument about to break out, Nana steps forward and reprimands that we are still arguing. Have we forgotten what is outside? Expressions change. Outside the supermarket, hundreds of corpses hang from willow trees. Seeing everyone fall silent, Nana coldly says those who want to go back go on your own. You should all remember the way you came. Those who do not want to go back follow us. But remember, those who follow must be obedient. Otherwise, if anything happens, we cannot guarantee anything. And she strides out with her long legs. The hundreds of corpses at the supermarket entrance seem like an audience watching a play, quietly observing. Nana says it is 1:46 now. We still have over 2 hours to gather supplies. We must leave the village before 4 o'clock. Hurry up. Otherwise, once it gets dark, we will never get out. She looks at the watch on her wrist with a serious expression. Time has passed so quickly. It was only a little past 11 when we arrived, and now 2 hours have already passed, and a sense of urgency rises in me. When the group emerges from the small supermarket and sees the eerie great willow tree, the joy of having just collected supplies instantly turns into fear and unease. Even Iron Lion looks cautious, and we hold our breath, tiptoeing quietly past the great willow tree, and I cannot help but swallow, tightening my grip on the crossbow. When my gaze falls on the corpses hanging, my heart skips a beat. These corpses seem wrong. I remember that when we first arrived, they did not seem to be facing this direction. But now, never mind. I cannot think about that, and the priority is to gather supplies early and leave. Just at this moment, a scream rings out, and the scream is piercing and sharp. Seemingly not far from here, everyone changes color. Xiao Xiao recognizes the scream and seems to want to say something. I coldly order her to shut up. Let us go. Xiao Xiao's pupils constrict slightly, and she is clearly terrified to the extreme. Unlike me, she has a decent rapport with people in the convoy and knows most of the survivors. The scream gave her a familiar feeling, which causes her fear to escalate sharply. Fortunately, my cold command brings her back to some sense of reason. The group quickly moves out of the great willow tree's vicinity until we are well clear of it. Only then do I slightly relax, and I instinctively look back. There should have been one more person behind me when we came out of the small supermarket. But with just that one glance back, my heart slightly lurches. Behind me, there is no one. Just then it is Xiao Xiao who is looking at me with incredibly terrified eyes. To be precise, she is looking at my back. You, she stammers, and a chill shoots to the top of my head. I dart forward 2 steps, my crossbow aimed behind me. Even Iron Lion and Nana fill with vigilance. However, there is nothing unusual behind me except the great willow tree laden with corpses. Look, that is Little Jang. And it is Little Jang. Xiao Xiao points a trembling index finger in a certain direction of the tree. We follow the direction, and a corpse hangs under the great willow tree. This is not strange. There are over 100 when everyone clearly sees the corpse. Our heart rates suddenly accelerate and pound. My pupils contract to the size of pinpricks. This person is precisely one of the survivors who entered the small supermarket with us earlier, and I am not very familiar with him but recognize him. He was the one following behind me just now, and the corpse hanging has a bulging backpack. From the time we left until now, it has been less than a minute. As a result, he has become one of the many corpses under the tree. Even I, who consider myself strong-willed, cannot help but feel a chill, and the great willow tree definitely has a problem. Why is this person hanging? Why is there no sound at all? What exactly happened? And I do not even think, and I just lift my leg and walk, not wanting to say a single word. Save him. Do not be ridiculous. This is not the first day of the apocalypse. Even if the whole world is filled with the strange, humans still feel terrified and fearful of it. No one bothers with a corpse from less than a minute ago. Everyone quickens their pace. At the same time, my desire to awaken a sequence grows stronger. With 3,000 killing points, I will definitely exchange the method. In this apocalyptic world, only by awakening a sequence can one survive. Nana's face also does not look good. As a transcendent of the Sword Immortal Sequence 2, her senses far surpass an ordinary person's. But she still has not detected how that survivor was hung on the tree, and the entire village is like it is covered in a layer of gray. Outside the village, the sun is still shining brightly. Inside it is gloomy and dark. Two different worlds, and the group strides away from the small supermarket, steps hurried. A survivor suddenly says his supplies are enough, that he does not want to look anymore, that we should go ourselves, and he scrambles and runs toward the village entrance. I clearly see his backpack is only half full. Another follows. Iron Lion, Nana, and I do not speak, and we glance indifferently and continue to hurry. Joe Ran and Ju Soso are also tempted. Jiangsu village is much more dangerous than Hunghua town. Perhaps in the next second they might never be able to leave, but the two sisters look at the supplies they have collected. If they leave now, the small amount will not last many days, and the two exchange glances, hesitation and panic in each other's eyes. Sis, Xiao Xiao says in a low voice, let us follow them. No matter what, following them is better than us going out on our own. Ju Ran does not speak, only a hint of worry in her eyes. Jiangsu village is not big, and finding the village chief's house is not difficult. One only needs to look for the largest and best house, and the information from the radio also provided help. This is it. The group arrives in front of a large house, much grander than the others. 3 stories, large floor-to-ceiling windows. There is also a large yard with a black car in it. However, the yard seems deserted for a long time. The exterior walls are covered with green plants, and the floor-to-ceiling windows should have been bathed in sunlight, but at this moment they are dim and gray, always giving a sense of unease. As if some strange creature is hiding in front of these windows, peeking. Any normal person facing such an eerie house would probably only want to stay far away. The 3 of us exchange glances, each seeing a hint of wariness and apprehension. Jiangsu village's danger level is several times higher than Hunghua town's, and this is just one village. Let us go in. Time is running out, I say, my voice low as I flick ash. Iron Lion carrying a huge backpack walks into the yard without a word. Taking large strides, Nana follows closely, her long legs striding, ponytail swaying, and I take a deep drag, raise the crossbow, and follow. Just as Joe Ran is about to enter, she sees a slightly hunched figure move even faster than her and her sister, following closely behind me. Young man, do you know what it means to respect the elderly and cherish the young? The old woman asks. When Xiao Xiao sees it as the same old woman, she is angry enough to want to curse. Joe Ran pulls her sister back, signaling that now is not the time. Xiao Xiao swallows her frustration. The exterior of the chief's large house is much grander than the rest, and the interior is much more luxurious. Upon entering, there is a huge European-style leather sofa, very grand. In the middle is a marble coffee table with natural patterns. Before the apocalypse, this set would have been worth a lot. Flashlights sweep the room. Search around, Nana tells everyone. If anyone finds supplies, speak up. Time is running out. The first place we search is the kitchen, which is very large, nearly 20 square meters, bigger than many rented apartments in big cities. Everyone quickly finds flour and rice, 2 large bags of noodles, and some other ingredients. Some gains, but not enough. We overheard on the radio that the Great Willow Tree convenience store in the village chief's house had sufficient supplies. If this is all there is, it will probably be insufficient. We keep searching. Some go up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. Unfortunately, no harvest. The 2nd floor is a large living room with a pool table, a row of sofas, 2 bedrooms, and the 3rd floor has a tea room and a bedroom. No trace of supplies. However many clothes and bags, many luxury items. Before the apocalypse, these were valuable. Now no one is interested. In the eyes of survivors, these luxury items are probably not worth a single piece of bread, and I find an electronic watch in a wardrobe on the 3rd floor. Before the apocalypse, young people liked these, linkable with phones. Powerful, at least 7 or 8,000, and I would not have bought it. Nana sees it and says with regret that she used to have one, but now without a way to charge it is just scrap. I shrug and call it a souvenir of human civilization and stuff it in my pocket. When I can exchange a solar charging panel from Chuchiao, this watch may become usable in the apocalypse. Every resource has its own use. We find nothing on the 2nd and 3rd floors, and go downstairs, and it is already 2:30, and we have only an hour and a half left to leave the village. On the 1st floor we search again, unwilling to give up. Here, a surprised cry attracts attention. A young man wearing glasses and holding a steel pipe excitedly points to a trapdoor next to a staircase, and the trapdoor is already open, a pitch-black hole. There is a basement here. Nana flashes over to him. Flashlight beams shine into the basement, but the pit is pitch black. How could the chief's house have a basement? Somebody asks. Another says, what is so strange about that? Most villas have basements. Could the chief have hidden all the supplies in the basement? Why not go down? Why do you not go down? No one dares, and I frown. There must be something in the basement. Nana jumps down first without a word, and her flashlight sways inside. Soon a surprised voice comes up. Jin, yup, Iron Lion. There are so many potatoes here. So many. Hearing this, everyone's faces show surprise. And I will go down and see, says the young man. And without waiting, he jumps down. Sis, Xiao Xiao tells her sister to watch from above, then jumps down. One survivor after another follows. Even the old woman jumps down without hesitation. Her movements as agile as a young person. In this apocalypse, supplies are everything. Iron Lion and I are to stay up and guard. Nana tells us she will bag the potatoes and we can take them from above. All right, soon a backpack full of potatoes is handed up. Iron Lion catches it easily with one hand. Ju Ran helps too. Big brother Iron Lion, thank you, says Xiao Xiao sweetly, and I stand guard beside Iron Lion holding my crossbow. A drop of cold sweat runs down my temple to my chin, finally drips to the ground. At this moment in my pupils, a hunched figure stands at the main entrance on the first floor, smiling eerily and watching the group, swoosh, and the bolt fires. Iron Lion tenses, turns, vigilantly looks around but finds nothing. Yeopi, what did you see? Ju Ran beside me also looks around with a terrified expression. It is nothing, Iron Lion. Hurry up. I have a bad feeling, let us leave this place quickly. Iron Lion looks around, finds no abnormalities, and mutters that scaring people can kill them, and the big fool keeps pulling potatoes out. Only his movements are faster. The tension on my face does not ease. After my bolt fires, the system prompts me, and I dealt damage to the hunchbacked old puppet, gained 100 killing points. The abundance of supplies in the cellar, or rather, far exceeds expectations, and I guess the chief noticed something amiss early in stored supplies. According to messages from below, the cellar contains potatoes and sweet potatoes, canned goods, rice, flour. Only then do I realize Chu Chel's eavesdropping radio is an invaluable treasure. Without it, it would have been impossible to find so many supplies in less than a day or two. Cheers occasionally come up. Aunt Joe, hurry, otherwise we will run out of time, the bespectacled young man urgently calls. Only then do I realize the grandmother's surname is Joe. Little Bach, wait a little longer. It is not easy to find so many supplies. The old woman's voice comes up. The bespectacled young man is probably around 20, looking like he has not graduated college, with the clear gaze often seen in university students. And it was Little Bach who discovered the cellar. The pair are disliked by everyone in the convoy. Only this student bothers with them. The others have already climbed out. When we came out of the supermarket earlier, many backpacks were half full. Now everyone's are bulging, faces filled with satisfied smiles. Many people, to pack these supplies, simply dumped out the snacks and filled their bags with potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, flour. Some took off their shirts, filled them with supplies, and hugged them to their chests. Iron Lion's exaggerated backpack is now completely full, and he carries it like a small mountain. The Ju sisters are laden too. Ju Ran has a bag on her chest and another on her back, and a bag in her hand. Xiao Xiao's supplies are no less than her sister's. Faces beaming by contrast, Nana and I have the fewest. Time is running, I urge. Nana glances at her wristwatch and her expression tenses too. 40 minutes until 4. We must leave the village within 40 minutes. Let us go, everyone quickens. Only I look around cautiously. This trip has been too smooth. The smoothness gives me an uneasy feeling that a great terror is waiting ahead. The old woman in the cellar hears we are leaving and her anxious voice comes up. Wait for me, except for the student Little Bach. No one pays attention. With the help of the kind student, she still manages to climb out. When I see the supplies on her, I am momentarily stunned. And she is covered head to toe in supplies. Not only a very large backpack on her back, but a large package in each hand. Another package hanging around her neck. Compared to the other survivors, this old woman has collected the most. She even feels smug. Do not assume that old men and women have poor physical strength. Compared to young people working grueling hours, these old men and women have seemingly inexhaustible energy. If you do not believe it, go watch the scene of people snatching eggs at a supermarket. However, in such an environment, carrying so many supplies is no different from seeking death. I ignore her and scan the surroundings, and the hunchbacked old puppet has disappeared. Let us go, Nana says, walking at the front. Holding her sword, Iron Lion follows. However, his backpack is so large that he encounters trouble at the door, and he violently dismantles the chief's door before getting the backpack out, and the courtyard is unchanged. The black luxury sedan is quietly parked, and I did want to take the sedan out if I could. It would be of great use in modifying my tricycle. My capabilities are limited though. Look for an opportunity later. Everyone walks back along the path, and the sky is still a hazy gray. No one speaks, but the atmosphere is clearly better. Only Nana checks her wristwatch. In her heart, her premonition matches mine. An unsettling feeling. Every supply run is a near-death experience. This time it has been unusually smooth. No, her long legs suddenly stop. Iron Lion slams brakes, and my crossbow is instantly raised. What is wrong? We have walked this path before, she says, pointing to an open-doored civilian house by the roadside. And the house is familiar. Someone entered before and never came out. We look at each other, not knowing what to say, and I light a cigarette, the tiny flame illuminating my eyes, and I frown in survey. Although I am a bit directionally challenged, the environment looks familiar no matter how I look at it. Up ahead is the great willow tree. A trembling voice asks, filled with endless fear, and we are all startled and look up, and we see an incredibly huge great willow tree standing not far away. After a corner we would see the supermarket. Logically, the great willow tree should be behind us, so why is it suddenly in front? Color drains from faces. We went the wrong way, Nana says, glancing at her wristwatch, her small face incredibly serious. We have 30 minutes left. If we go back now, we might still make it. Everyone looks at the great willow tree with trepidation and walks toward the village entrance. This time the expressions are more serious. Before, some whispered, now everyone falls silent. Joe, Ran, and Xiao Xiao see worry in each other's eyes, and their steps quicken, wanting to be closer to us. In a doomsday environment, survivors can only find security from sequence transcendence. Every survivor has their own thoughts, and my heart is heavy. This trip might not be simple, and my guess is confirmed quickly. When everyone sees the tall great willow tree again, they fall silent for a moment. Some voices are already tinged with tears. Why is it still here? I remember we clearly walked in the opposite direction. Is it a ghost wall? And I had my back to the tree. Why did I come back? I did not die in Uke City. How could I be trapped in this small village? For a time, everyone is in an uproar, eyes wide with panic. Everyone turns to the three-sequence transcendence. Iron Lion swallows, his eyes slowly turning fierce. Damn it, it must be that great willow tree playing tricks. Let us just chop it down. Titan sequence transcendents usually do not look any different from ordinary people. But once they engage in battle, they become fierce, brutal, and warlike. Big fool. Do not rush. Do not lose your mind before things are clear, Nana tells him. She turns to me. Jinye up. What do you think? At this moment, she has no good ideas. And time is running out. If we cannot get out, we will encounter something very dangerous. When we came in earlier, Chuchel had said we must leave before 4. According to the convoy's rules, if Chuchel still does not see us by 4, he very likely leaves with the convoy. Without a pathfinder to guide them and avoid the strange, it would be almost impossible for us to survive. And I take a deep drag, force myself to calm down. How much time is left? 20 minutes, she says. Let us try again. If it does not work, we deal with that great willow tree. Now that is all we can do. This time everyone walks in the opposite direction at a quicker pace. When everyone sees the incredibly tall great willow tree appear before them again, many eyes fill with despair. How is this possible? And the great willow tree is still the great willow tree's doing. A survivor with bloodshot eyes glares at me, and he says I told them turning their backs would let them out. Why are we still here? He calls us useless and asks why these sequence transcendents cannot take them out. That he does not want to die, and his voice becomes hysterical. Some crazed survivors stare intently at me, walking toward me step by step. If I cannot get him out in the next second, he plans to attack me. My eyes are cold, and my left hand has already gripped the chai knife, and I do not mind giving this irrational survivor a bloody lesson. Bang! A thick leg brutally kicks the crazed survivor, sending the strong man flying over 10 meters, plowing a deep mark in the ground, his fate unknown, and it is Iron Lion. Even with his back laden with supplies, it does not affect his combat power and the ability of a sequence transcendent. Usually honest and easily bullied, he says coldly that if anyone wants to die, he can grant the wish, and his lion-like eyes sweep across the other survivors' faces. The others are as silent as cicadas in winter, avoiding his gaze, and he knows I am an auxiliary sequence transcendent, and combat is not my strong suit. That is why he steps in. Nana seems to ignore the scene, only looking at the great willow tree with a serious expression. It seems we have no choice but to confront that tree. Otherwise, we probably will not be able to get out. Iron Lion licks his lips and says finally the combat part. If it is too smooth, it might be a bit too boring. Every Titan sequence transcendent gets inexplicably excited upon hearing of battle. I also do not speak, just re-examine the crossbow. This is my greatest reliance. Iron Lion strides toward the great willow tree, his eyes full of excitement. A stark contrast to the honest big fellow he was earlier, as if there are two personalities in this massive body. I do not stop him. Since the tree will not let us leave, we can only destroy it. Iron Lion trying it is a method. Suddenly I see a corpse in the distance move, its stiff head slowly turning toward the big fool. Iron Lion's actions are like a stone thrown into a lake. Big fool, be careful. And I have already raised my crossbow, aiming at a moving corpse. Outside the village, the convoy waits. Why has no one come out yet? Voices murmur. It is already past 3, less than half an hour until 4. What is going on with this village? Could they all be dead? Impossible. They have 3 sequence transcendents. How could they die? Since we entered Jiangsu village, not a single person has come out. Highly abnormal. Previously, in Manhwa town, survivors had continuously escaped. Some returned first after getting enough supplies, others a bit later. But ever since the survivors entered Jiangsu village, not one survivor has emerged, and the eerie situation casts a shadow over hearts. Even Cho Chol, usually so confident, feels uneasy. The survivors remaining outside stir. Many of these lack the courage to collect supplies, either due to insufficient stamina or feared the anomalies and instead hoped to obtain supplies from others. Once someone obtained sufficient supplies, these people would exchange items of equivalent value. Common in the convoy, as long as both parties were willing, Chu Chil would not interfere, and the convoy's survival rule for others, those who entered the village are also these people's hope. But since the morning, not a single person has emerged. Many feel uneasy. Chu Chial looks at the village enveloped in gray fog. When he first arrived at 11 in the morning, he could still vaguely see the situation inside. But now the situation is no longer visible, only a blurry dark scene, not even a sound. This makes him very uneasy. Not far away, a woman's eyes flicker with madness. This woman is Seo Gyogyo. After being taught a small lesson by Cho Chiel last time, her presence in the convoy became more subdued. But to think she has done nothing would be impossible either. After this period of networking, she has already contacted many sisters, and she has already begun to plan that if no one comes out, she will not just sit back. According to her understanding, although Chu Chial is a sequence transcendent, he seems to have little combat power, and she secretly plots in her heart if 4 o'clock arrives and still no one comes out. Inside the village, the situation is clearly already extremely dangerous, and the great willow tree is like an enraged monster. Countless corpses bound by willow branches begin to revive. Pairs of murky eyes, filled with evil desires, look at the survivors as if they were delicious roasted chickens. Hundreds of corpses activating at the same time feels like a scene from a zombie movie. A corpse with willow branches wrapped around its neck, like a marionette, charges Iron Lion. One corpse moves, and all the others also begin to move. These corpses are controlled by willow branches, like toy airplanes in a child's hand, launching aerial attacks. Get lost, Iron Lion roars. He had intended to charge the great willow tree, using his strength to destroy the eerie tree. Perhaps that is the way to leave Jiangsu village, but the number of corpses in front of him is growing. His massive fist slams into a corpse, sending it flying backward. In just an instant, the corpse lunges forward again, and his punch did not cause any lethal damage. His punch could blow up an adult man, yet it has no effect on the corpse. Seeing this scene, I feel a chill. These corpses are clearly not comparable to the hunchbacked old puppet or the white-clothed scissor woman, but they are still so troublesome, and my heart slowly begins to sink. But soon other corpses charge up, and a corpse has already pounced on Iron Lion's back. Opening its mouth, ready to bite, swoosh, and a crossbow bolt soaked in black dog blood pierces the corpse's back. A puff of white smoke rises, and the corpse painfully detaches, and I gain killing points from damaging the corpse puppet, so they are called corpse puppets. Before I can rejoice, the corpse puppet, with the bolt still embedded, charges at me. Before it reaches me, I smell a foul, fishy odor. Nana's left-hand sword finger brushes over her sword, muttering radiant light tempers the blade, illuminating the netherworld. Open, and her sword glows with fluorescence, and she slashes the corpse puppet. It splits into 2 pieces and falls. Even so, the 2 halves still struggle to crawl toward me. What the hell? And I just want to curse, and I did not expect corpse puppets to be so difficult to deal with. A terrified scream, and a survivor not far from me has been grabbed by several corpse puppets and flown into the sky. Blood splatters the ground. Corpse puppets cannot fly on their own, but corpse puppets pulled by willow branches can. Little Bok, save me. The old woman, laden with supplies, is surprisingly still alive, though her movements are slow due to carrying too much, and she is still trying, constantly dodging and weaving under attacks. Those corpse puppets had intended to deal with her, but a nearby survivor was pushed by her to be a scapegoat. Many survivors saw this scene, and their disgust and hatred for her intensified. Only the foolish university student has not seen it. At this moment, little Bok is also in danger, wielding a steel pipe and fighting a corpse puppet, seemingly on the verge of death. Zhou Ran and Xiao Xiao are also in a sorry state. Corpse puppets can attack from any direction. Zhou Ran's celebrity status is useless. When they see the survivor who had just been beside them being dragged away with screams, the sisters are terrified, and they had planned to survive under the protection of Iron Lion and Nana. Iron Lion has already charged the great willow tree, dozens of meters away. Nana has no energy to look after the sisters. A corpse puppet with willow branches descends from the sky, heading straight for Zhou Ran. Sis, be careful. Xiao Xiao at this moment does not care about anything else, instinctively smashing the backpack on her back hard at the corpse puppet, which allows Zhou Ran to narrowly escape. But soon more corpse puppets charge. Xiao Xiao. Xiao sees my bolt pierce a corpse puppet. The corpse puppet emits white smoke and retreats. She grits her teeth and tells her sister to go to me, that she does not believe I will just stand by and watch them die. Months ago, as the younger sibling of the superstar Zhou Ran, Xiao Xiao was also a center of attention, by looks alone no less beautiful than her older sister. Even before her debut, many companies approached her hoping to sign her. Before she even began her debut, she already had several top resources reserved, and the entire entertainment industry was waiting for her debut. Compared to her sister's graceful and mature demeanor, she was a vibrant, youthful beauty, embodying the most popular aesthetic of the time. Combined with her sister's background, she was destined to become a top-tier star. Even she believed it. Unfortunately, many things happened unexpectedly, and the city fell. Countless terrifying anomalies appeared. Human civilization collapsed at an unimaginable speed. At that time, Xiao Xiao was preparing her debut work with her sister, the two appearing together in a major film. In just a few hours, the entire crew was killed by an unknown anomaly, turning the whole set into a death trap. The two fought to escape the city, and by a twist of fate joined this convoy. Like many others, Xiao Xiao did not believe human society would be completely extinct. Perhaps soon the army would reclaim the city. As she learned more about the apocalypse, that glimmer of hope began to fade. Order is slowly collapsing, becoming increasingly barbaric. If they had not joined the convoy, the sisters' situation would definitely not be good now. She cut her long hair, changed out of her dresses, smeared dust on her fair lovely face, slowly learned to pretend to be a boy, and she treated herself as one. To survive in the apocalypse, to live with dignity, the sisters put in more effort than ordinary survivors. Whenever they reached a supply point, other survivors would cower. The sisters never missed an opportunity, each time bravely rushing into towns and villages, encountering countless dangers. That is why they lived much better. Until the day she learned her sister had given a barrel of gasoline to a newly awakened sequence transcendent. To collect that barrel of gasoline, they almost died at the hands of anomalies, and the barrel was given away. She was indignant and immediately took it back. In the following days, she worried about retaliation. Although I was an auxiliary sequence, I was still a transcendent. Life continued at a leisurely pace. As she learned more about sequence transcendence, she sometimes regretted her actions no matter what. I was still a sequence transcendent, until they reached Jiangsu village. The danger encountered at Jiangsu village far exceeded other supply points, and she had never felt death so close, and she even felt in the next second she would become a cold corpse. Having taken that barrel that day, she now feels complete regret. If she had received my promise of protection back then, perhaps she could have survived. Unfortunately, there is no medicine for regret in the world. She always tried to seek protection behind the other two sequence transcendents, and their identities were no different from ordinary people in their eyes. Until now, the last two sequence transcendents are too busy dealing with the corpses hanging from willow branches to even consider her and her sister. And the auxiliary sequence Jin Yelp, whom she had previously thought useless, is actually able to repel those corpses with the crossbow. Even if I cannot kill the corpses, merely repelling them is like seeing a lifeline. At this moment, she completely disregards her past grievances with me, only wanting to seek my protection. Even Old Lady Joe is harboring similar intentions. Nana and Iron Lion cooperate, rushing toward the great willow tree, completely disregarding the other survivors at this point. Fortunately, almost most of the corpse puppets are concentrated around these two. Otherwise, the other survivors would have died long ago. Even so, a few scattered corpse puppets keep me scrambling. At this moment, I have also unleashed unprecedented potential. The crossbow fires at the fastest speed. Thanks to practice during rest periods, I am quite skilled. Just as I load a new bolt, a corpse puppet with eerie white teeth lunges, and I raise my hand and shoot, swoosh, and an arrow pierces the forehead of a corpse puppet, emitting white smoke. The corpse puppet howls and retreats, and I do not even have time to check the system's prompt, pulling out a bolt and quickly stringing it, and the surrounding corpse puppets are like moths drawn to a flame. Ordinary survivors have no way to effectively attack them, and the scavenged steel pipes and rebar are nothing more than an itch. Old Lady Joe's movements are as swift as snatching eggs in a supermarket or grabbing a seat on a bus. Before other survivors have even managed to get close to me, this agile old woman has already quietly hidden behind me, seeking my protection. Just as she feels a slight triumph, she sees a large hand suddenly reach for her neck, and she is slightly startled. What is this kid trying to do? Before she can think further, she sees the hand gently push her, and she stumbles, seeing an incredibly terrifying ghostly face smiling maliciously at her. You. And she understands. This kid is using her as a human shield. How dare he? Does he not know to respect the elderly and cherish the young? Before she can curse aloud, she is surrounded by two corpse puppets. With a scream, this agile old woman, whose movements were no less nimble than a young person's, is dragged away by several corpse puppets, leaving only a pile of blood. My actions chill the hearts of the other survivors. This young man, how ruthless. My bolt was a fraction of a second slow in loading, resulting in a corpse puppet getting too close. Old Lady Joe, who was right behind me, was pushed out by me to be a scapegoat. Ruthlessness is nothing more than this, and I feel not a single bit of guilt. Xiao Xiao's footsteps faltered slightly when she sees such a ruthless Jin Yelp, and it is this pause in her steps. Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's heart jumps, and she quickly turns to look, only to see her sister Zhou Ran being tackled by a corpse. Jin Yep, save my sister. Compared to Nana and Iron Lion, I as a support sequence have a very low sense of presence. Nana is a sword immortal sequence, carrying a long sword every day, just sliced a civilian house in two. In the eyes of the survivor, she is a superhero. Iron Lion's 2-meter-plus height alone gives an immense sense of pressure. There is also the mysterious Chu Chol, who clearly possesses some skill, only I seem no different from other survivors. If there were an instrument to measure sequences, one would know my mechanic sequence is a fake, and the seemingly inconspicuous support sequence has now become the other survivor's last hope. Ordinary survivors facing corpse puppets are like 3-year-old children facing a strong adult man, and the steel pipes and baseball bats have no effect. Firearms are controlled weapons. Ordinary people simply could not get them. And after the apocalypse, firearms became even rarer. Even with guns, the damage to the anomalies was very limited. Only my crossbow soaked in black dog blood can still have some effect. However, I had been ruthless just now, not hesitating to use Old Lady Joe as a human shield. This makes some have second thoughts. The big star Juran has already been pounced on by a corpse puppet. Perhaps in the next second she will die. Facing the corpse puppet's non-human ghostly face, Juran feels every hair on her body stand on end, and she desperately uses the stick in her hand to fend it off. Xiao Xiao Zhou Ran cannot help but scream. Xiao Xiao sees and immediately panics, then loudly calls for me to save her sister. Jing Yop, save my sister. And I raise my hand and shoot. The bolt pierces a corpse puppet's head, raising white smoke, and the puppet howls and retreats. I look at the sisters, my expression unchanged, my hands not stopping, quickly drawing a bolt, stringing it, firing, and I repel another corpse puppet about to pounce. Xiao Xiao sees that I am truly not going to help, and sorrow and resentment flash in her eyes. But at this moment she cannot care less and picks up the stick to run over and help. The corpse puppet's abilities are very singular, their strength and agility only comparable to an ordinary strong adult male. Driven by willow branches, they seem to have the ability to fly. Moreover, general attacks have no effect, and an ordinary adult male is no match. There are over hundreds under the great willow tree. As soon as one entangles a target, it quickly attracts others to swarm in, much more difficult than ordinary anomalies. Fortunately, Iron Lion and Nana attract most of the willow tree's attention, allowing me and the other survivors on the outskirts to hold on. And it is not that I and the others do not want to escape. It is that there is no escape at all, and the willow branches seem infinitely extendable, and the entire village is the willow tree's battlefield. Hearing her sister's cry, Xiao Xiao quickly rushes to help, using the wooden stick to push away the corpse puppet that had pounced on her sister. Just as she pulls her sister up, Xiao Xiao despairingly finds several corpse puppets gathered around them. Dealing with one corpse puppet has already made the sisters very strained. Now there are several. Those cloudy eyes just stare at the sisters, many of the faces still very familiar, and the threat of death surges into their hearts. Could it be? She and her sister are going to die here today. The sisters stand back to back, each holding a sharpened steel pipe. Such simple weapons might still pose threat to ordinary people. Against corpse puppets, no effect at all. Juran holds the steel pipe, her legs trembling slightly. Around the sisters are 4 or 5 corpse puppets with ferocious expressions. Corpse puppets from a distance are still rushing toward them. Cloudy eyeballs, gaping mouths, rotting bodies, and waves of unpleasant putrid smell assail them. Xiao Xiao can even see maggots wriggling on the surface. These corpse puppets still have human forms but have lost their humanity. Sis, you run first. As long as you run to Jin Yop, even if he does not want to save you, you will be much safer. Juran grits her teeth and instructs her sister. Xiao Xiao bites her lip fiercely, telling her sister what nonsense, that even if she dies she will not beg Jin Yop. She bites her teeth tightly, a trace of blood overflowing from her lips, sweat wetting a strand of long hair on her forehead, making her look incredibly disheveled. As she says this, she feels a little guilty. A scream. A male survivor trying to escape is jumped on his back by a corpse puppet, which opens its large mouth and bites his back neck. A stream of blood carries the man flying deep into the crown of the great willow tree, and the tragedy happens only 4 or 5 meters away. That man, according to himself, was an executive of a listed company before the apocalypse, and had even pursued Juran at one point, and he never expected to die like this right before their eyes. Xiao Xiao's pupils shake violently, and some tears well up in her beautiful big eyes. These are tears of fear. Death is happening right before her eyes, and she looks at me. Jin Yelp, and she cries out unwillingly. For the first time her voice carries a hint of pleading, very rare for the usually stubborn Xiao Xiao. From the apocalypse until now she had never begged anyone. But now she and her sister are in a desperate situation. My situation is not very good either at this moment. Fortunately, I had stored enough black dog blood bolts before, so I can barely hold on. Although the bolts cannot kill corpse puppets, they can at least repel them. System prompts flash before my eyes, but I am too lazy to count them at this moment, and I can only pray Nana and Iron Lion act faster. Otherwise, if this continues, I will not be able to hold on much longer. As for the other survivors, I do not care at all. Suddenly hearing my name, I am slightly startled. Then I see 4 or 5 corpse puppets surrounding the Jew sisters, and the steel pipes in their hands are like children's toys to the puppets. In just a few seconds, the 2 sisters will be torn to shreds. Their eyes look at me filled with pleading and pity, like puppies in the cold wind casting pleading gazes at their owner. Seeing me turn my head, a ray of hope shines in the sisters' eyes. Xiao Xiao's big eyes are filled with tears, an intertwining of endless regret and hope. Please, Jin Yelp, save us. Just a second ago she said she would rather die than beg anyone. The next second she is already about to die. Death is so close, and the speed of the change is something she herself had not expected. Just as Xiao Xiao is begging me for help, a roar that shakes heaven and earth erupts. Immediately following is a tremor, as if a giant dragon were roaring and thrashing beneath the ground, and the corpse puppets, bound by willow branches, sway and shake violently. All the survivors turn to look. Beneath the colossal willow tree, comparable to the world tree, a 3-meter giant with bulging muscles slams his massive fists like a battering ram into the trunk. Wood chips fly, and crimson blood streams from the willow. Nana holds her long sword in one hand, chanting some mysterious incantation, and the power of her sword grows stronger and stronger. Sword energy swirls around her. Her long hair sways without wind. Like a goddess, however, her face becomes increasingly pale, completely devoid of color. The same sword chi move she used against the hunchbacked old puppet, but this time its power is far greater. She shouts, and with her long sword lightly slashes at the great willow tree. A dazzling sword chi attached to the long sword extends the blade from over a meter to more than 10. Even from such a distance I feel a chill. The long sword slashes down, and a terrifying sword mark appears on the tree, and a large amount of crimson blood flows down. Eerie and inexplicable cries come from underground. This sword has clearly damaged the tree, and the trunk twists wildly, affecting the village's central square, and the entire village seems to be experiencing an earthquake. This moment also happens precisely when Xiao Xiao is pleading. The survivors look at the tree in terror. Even the corpse puppets seem to fall into a state of panic, as if some great horror is about to descend. "Run!" I shout, and the surrounding survivors are startled awake, turn and frantically flee toward the village entrance with their backpacks. And I cannot care less at this moment. I can feel that because the tree is injured, some taboo in the village seems to have opened a crack, and the backpack on my back does not hinder me at all. At this moment I wish my parents had given me 2 fewer legs, and I dash madly toward the entrance. My angry shout does not awaken the berserk brute, and the 3-meter muscle-bound fiend still has blood-red eyes, and his iron fists continuously hammer the trunk like sledgehammers. The Titan sequence is a powerful combat sequence, but not entirely without cost. Once awakened, intelligence declines to a certain extent. Titan extraordinaries in combat mode are prone to berserking, and it is difficult for them to regain sanity unless they or their opponent falls. Big brute, go. Nana sways precariously, but her last shred of sanity tells her she has to awaken the brute now, otherwise everyone is in trouble. But the brute completely ignores her warning, continuing to attack the tree like an enraged lion. Jin Yope, Nana is completely exhausted and has no choice but to ask me for help, and my pupils constrict slightly. Even without understanding the Titan sequence, I know the brute might have fallen into some kind of emotional state, and her plea is different from Ju Ran's and Xiao Xiao's. Those two are not sequence transcendents. Moreover, the brute is very friendly to me. To save or not to save, that is the question. If it were Ju Ran or Xiao Xiao, I definitely would not save them. But these two in front of me are 2 sequence transcendents, and they are worth saving. In less than a heartbeat I make the decision, gritting my teeth and stopping my retreating footsteps, and I aim my crossbow at the brute's arm and fire. At this moment I am not sure if my Black Dog blood bolt will actually work, and I only hope the pain ignites a spark of sanity, and the bolt's arrowhead only embeds itself in the brute's broad back muscle. The exaggerated muscle tissue stops the arrowhead, and I watch, secretly alarmed. This brute has such defensive power just by relying on muscles, and the Titan sequence is indeed terrifying. Roar! Iron Lion in his fury feels the attack from behind, turns and sees a small human running wildly, and he roars and chases me with large strides. I secretly curse. Damn it, big brute. Are you looking at me like you are going to kill me? At this moment his eyes are blood red like an enraged mammoth. Nana feels a slight relief and lightly jumps onto his shoulder with a push of her legs. Even for her, close to exhaustion, doing this is not difficult. As she passes the mountain-like pile of supplies, she shoots out a rope, hooks it onto the mountain-like package, and ties the other end to his arm. In this way, the group kicks up a cloud of dust and rushes straight toward the entrance. If one were to look down from above, they would see a long snake rushing straight to the entrance, with trails of dust at the tail. I am now running with all my might as if my life depends on it. At this moment, the entire Jiangsu village awakens from its slumber. Starting from the center, countless willow branches frantically surge toward the fleeing survivors. Save me. I do not want to die. Save me. A slower survivor lets out a terrified scream, is grabbed by the ankle by a willow branch, and is dragged into the darkness. Seeing this, the other survivors are scared out of their wits and run even more frantically. 2 or 3 more are entangled. Several willow branches bypass the house, extending stealthily from the darkness on both sides of the street into my path, and I raise my hand in fire, and the bolt pierces a willow branch. Amidst faint wails, the branch quickly retracts. Suddenly, I feel my ankle tighten, and before I can think, I feel my body lose balance and I am hung upside down. Is it finally my turn? At this moment, my crossbow is empty, and I have no other means. Even if Nana wanted to help, the distance between us is still a bit far. I pull out the machete from my waist and slash it fiercely at the willow branch. Ever since I got the machete, it had often been soaked in black dog blood. There is no reason for bolts to be soaked and not the machete. I did not know if soaking it would work, and I was just trying. Unexpectedly, with this one slash, the branch lets out a faint scream, and I am overjoyed. And slash 2 or 3 more times. Although there are no firearms among the survivors, many people still had sharp weapons. Before, these survivors used them against the branches with no effect. Now the machete soaked in black dog blood actually works. How could this not make me happy? And the branch is cut off and my body falls. I roll over and stand up, and regardless of how disheveled, begin to run wildly. Yopi, get on. A large hand directly scoops me up and lifts me onto a soft object, and it is a mountain-like backpack, and the one the brute iron lion is carrying. The blood-red color has faded from his eyes, and the mountain-like backpack is back on his back. At this moment, I am thrown onto that mountain-like backpack. Hold on tight. I am going to accelerate. After saying that, Iron Lion's speed suddenly increases, and I frantically grab the backpack so I will not be thrown off. The village entrance is in sight. 1621. Chu Chal looks at the watch on his wrist, then raises his eyes toward the village entrance, his face still calm. When he looks toward the entrance, he maintains a serene expression. Seeing this composure, the other survivors feel a significant sense of ease. However, deep within his eyes, a faint trace of anxiety is hidden. Up until now, neither I, nor Nana, Iron Lion, nor any other survivor has escaped. So many entered earlier, now there is no movement at all, not even a single sound. It is already 21 minutes past the agreed time. According to plan, the convoy should have been on its way by now. After becoming a Pathfinder sequence transcendent, he feels danger at all times. As ordinary survivors in the convoy, some might wonder why even with Sango fallen, the convoy had seemed safe. Sometimes they might even think the apocalypse was a deceptive rumor, aside from the convoy occasionally making erratic path choices. For example, in the morning, suddenly driving 7 or 8 kilometers forward, then in the afternoon driving back. They confirm heading east in the morning, only to turn south just before departure. Although they did not quite understand the Pathfinder's eccentricities, life in the convoy, despite scarce supplies, had been free of danger. Having lived in comfort for so long, they sometimes doubted whether the eerie apocalypse truly existed. However, in Cho Chel's eyes, the convoy's life is far from safe. In fact, they are constantly on the verge of danger. And the day he became a Pathfinder, he could keenly sense the eerie aura. In his perception, the convoy was constantly in danger. What appeared to be a safe path ahead, in his perception there was a great terror lurking. What appeared to be a calm path behind them, several eerie presences were tracking the convoy's residual aura. Eerie entities track humans by lingering aura to kill them. That is why the convoy has to constantly be on the move, and the Pathfinder's existence is to find a safe path for the convoy. And he set the assembly time at 4 o'clock. This was based on his perception that staying in Jiangsu village until before 4 was safe. Once past 4, there was a high possibility of being caught at any moment. In his perception, about 10 kilometers to the southwest, an eerie entity with a terrifying aura was approaching, and the situation similar to last time in Manhwa town. He glances at his wristwatch again, 16:22, and I will give you 8 more minutes, 4:30. If you still are not out by 4:30, I cannot wait for you anymore, otherwise the entire convoy will die, and the worry in his eyes intensifies. Team Chu, Uncle Abo's voice rings. Chu Chel glances and sees his urgency. Chu Chel smiles calmly. No rush, just a few more minutes. We leave at 4:30. Uncle Abo says nothing and turns to prepare. Hearing that we are about to depart, a commotion arises within the convoy, and they have not come out yet. Where are we going? No, my husband is not back yet. I am not leaving. Voices in the crowd wail for Grandma, for a big brother still inside, asking how we can leave. At this point, we are less than 100 meters from the village entrance, and at Iron Lion's current speed, he can probably rush out in just a few seconds. I grip the backpack straps, eyes anxious yet calm. At this moment, the village is surrounded by ghostly figures on all sides, and I cannot distinguish whether they are corpse puppets or other eerie entities. Whispers like snake tongues reach my ears. Do not leave me. Do not. Would you like to stay and play with me? Woo woo. Are you really leaving? I am so cold. The village is so cold. Will you stay? Countless voices echo, among them old people, women, children, young adults. Some sound very familiar, like members of the convoy, some unfamiliar, and my mind feels a moment of trance. A young man about to rush out stops, eyes dazed, and turns to walk into nearby darkness, disappearing. Swoosh. I raise my hand and shoot an arrow at a dark figure in the shadows. A shrill scream rings out, giving my ears a brief respite, allowing me to regain some sanity. Nana's eyes turn cold, and her sword slashes the darkness, and a sword she rips through the air and strikes the dark area. Another scream. After unleashing that sword she sways, nearly falling off the big fool's back. At this moment, her small face is as pale as paper, looking ashen like a corpse that had been dead for 3 days. Even her rosy lips are a grayish white. Big fool, do not stop, hurry up. I quickly remind him. Damn it, hold on tight. His 3-meter body erupts in a hazy red mist, and his entire demeanor undergoes a drastic change. At this moment in my perception, he is like an ancient mammoth. I wrap my arm and the backpack straps together, using my other hand and foot to string the crossbow. Practicing one-handed stringing came in handy, and a bolt soaked in black dog blood is already strung. Just as I finish, I vaguely perceive a figure appearing beside me, and the figure's speed is incredibly fast, like an old mountain ape, hunchbacked old puppet, and my heart tightens in surprise. Why did this hunchbacked old puppet suddenly appear now? And I look at it, and it looks back, its mouth stretched into an exaggerated arc as if smiling at me, and the human head on its back glares with intense malice. A faint voice transmitting, "Why did you not save me? Why did you not save me? Dead, you are all going to die. I am the next you, I am you." I raise my hand and fire, and the hunchbacked old puppet does not dodge, allowing the bolt to pierce its eye socket. Before it would be wary after being hit. But now the arrow seems to have struck elsewhere. With the arrow still lodged in its eye socket, it continues to run, showing no reaction. Its movements still as swift as a monkey's, and a chill runs through me. A feeling of impending doom washes over, but just then I feel a warmth spread through my body, and the surrounding gloom instantly brightens, and a faint warm yellow light shines down, warm and bright, and I am out, and I look at the hunchbacked old puppet again. I see it standing in the shadows of the village, still smiling eerily at me, the bolt still stuck in its eye socket. 16:28. Only 2 minutes left until 4:30, and the fairness convoy is ready to depart at any moment, although many still object. The decision remains unchanged. Some survivors start to throw tantrums, even planning to lie on the ground and refuse to move. But it cannot change Chu Chiel's decision, and his expression remains unchanged. Still that calm demeanor. To the other survivors, nothing can change Team Leader Chu's decision. Many curse him as ruthless and heartless, and the commotion is, in his eyes, an insignificant matter. In reality, his heart is incredibly anxious. As a Pathfinder sequence transcendent, his sensing ability should be extremely sensitive, and he wants to sense what is happening in the village. But he is completely unable to. Ever since the survivors entered Jiangsu village, his perception has been largely blocked, and he can only vaguely sense countless strange within. He can feel the Jiangsu village he sees before him as even fake, and he knows nothing of what is happening. Perhaps all the survivors have remained in the village beneath the illusion he sees. The bodies of survivors might already be piled up, or perhaps a fierce battle is currently taking place. He tries hard to sense, and he is completely unable to. However, just then a change occurs at the entrance. A small mountain breaks through some kind of barrier and suddenly appears before everyone, as if it has suddenly burst into reality from another world. The small mountain topples over like pushing a golden mountain and toppling a jade pillar. As it falls, only then does everyone clearly see what it is. In a giant 3-meter man with an exaggerated backpack. The giant is shrinking at a visible speed. In just a blink, the giant's 3-meter height instantly becomes over 2 meters. Along with the falling giant, a man and a woman also appear. The man and woman are also in a sorry state, and the woman's face is as pale as paper, her long hair dusty and disheveled. The man is not much better, his clothes tattered, his forehead shiny with sweat and dust. Chu Chiel's calm eyes show a hint of joy. Seeing the three of us, the survivors erupt. The fairness convoy is even more chaotic. Uncle Abo, old Lee, they are back. Husband, did you see my husband? Brother, are you back, son? Where are you? The scene is a mess. Soon more survivors break out, and they come out one after another, following us. Husband, when a woman sees a disheveled man, tears fall like a broken string of pearls, and she throws herself into his arms wailing. The man's face shows a relieved smile, and he puts his blood-stained hand around his wife's shoulder, comforting her with a happy smile. There is also a brother patting his sister's head, smiling and telling her he is out so she should not cry. And some survivors carrying full backpacks silently walk to a bicycle and light a cigarette. Perhaps his family is long gone. Many also stand on tiptoes, craning their necks to look into the village. They can only see a hazy expanse with no one in sight. These people do not wait for the figures they had hoped for. Zhou Ran and Xiao Xiao are also among the survivors, and they are in an extremely sorry state. Zhou Ran's previously tied ponytail is now disheveled, her long hair dampened by sweat sticking to her face and neck, and she has also lost one of her shoes at some point. Xiao Xiao is not much better than her sister, and she has 2 deep wounds on her thigh and arm, blood flowing down her clothes, soaking half her body. Previously in the village, the dim light made it hard to see, but now it is very clear. Also, Xiao Xiao's upper clothing is torn with a large opening, revealing the extraordinary scenery inside. Many survivors only then realize this boisterous young man is actually a girl. Greedy expressions appear in their eyes. They lick their lips, looking as if they are drooling. The sisters were in extreme danger this time, but they also gained a lot. Not only are the backpacks they brought all full, but they also picked up another along the way, and they help each other dragging their backpacks to their car. Time is running out. Chu Chiel can even smell the approach of the anomalies, and we have stayed too long at the entrance. In his perception, several anomalies have already noticed the situation here and are starting to approach, and the fairness convoy moves in an orderly fashion. Some people lift Iron Lion's massive body into the bus. Several others stuff his mountain-like large bag into the cargo hold under the bus. These supplies can only be distributed after finding a safe place. I, no longer a rookie, also know time is urgent. I walk to my motorcycle tricycle, throw my backpack into the bucket, and I pull out a pack of cigarettes from my pocket, and am about to light one. Jin Yaup, this is the gasoline Team Chu gave you. Uncle Abba walks over with a pot of gasoline and hands it to me, and my last bit of gasoline in the tank was used up. I had originally planned to ask Chu Chel for some, and I did not believe he had not prepared. As one of the few sequence transcendents he would lend it. I just did not expect him to be so thoughtful and deliver it directly. I do not stand on ceremony and take it. Thanks, I will return it to him later. Uncle Abo nods and turns to leave. In the fairness convoy there are no free benefits. The barrel must be returned, and the barrel has about 15 liters. Filling the motorcycle tricycle uses only about half. The fuel tank capacity of this motorcycle tricycle has not been specifically calculated, probably around 7 liters. When upgrading in the future I need to increase capacity. Too small a capacity means insufficient cruising range. Insufficient cruising range could sometimes be fatal in such an apocalypse. At least in the future process of searching for supplies, it would be good to find a few barrels for spares. At this time I am rushing to follow the convoy and have no time to check how many killing points I have gained, but I imagine it will not be a small amount. Only a few Black Dog blood bolts I brought this time are left. After refueling, the fairness convoy starts to move slowly. I light a cigarette, take a deep puff, and after exhaling a few rings I also start my motorcycle tricycle. At the village entrance a few survivors still look at the village with anticipation. As time passes the hope in their eyes slowly dims. Someone keeps mumbling, still hoping for a figure to appear. Beep beep, and the modified off-road at the front lets out a piercing horn sound, and the fairness convoy starts to move. Under the apocalypse's sunset, the dim yellow light stretches the few curved shadows at the entrance long. The motorcycle trishaw, refueled, regains its mobility, and I twist the throttle, feeling the engine roar, and a sense of security wells up. Who said men do not need a sense of security? In the apocalypse, the fuel in the tank and the supplies in the cargo bed are the best manifestations of security, and I take a deep drag, exhale a smoke ring, then twist the throttle. The motorcycle trishaw lets out a weak roar before slowly starting to move, and it has to be said, my motorcycle trishaw is severely lacking in power. Even with the throttle to its maximum, I still cannot keep up with the SUV and the bus ahead. This time the convoy's personnel decreased again. Around 40 to nearly 50 survivors entered. Only a dozen or so managed to escape. Over 30 are permanently left in Jiangsu village. Many of them were survivors who had previously escaped from Uke City. These had the fewest supplies and thus their desire to obtain supplies was strongest. For those who did not make it out, their loved ones, who had not waited, are permanently left at the entrance. With their closest relatives not emerging, these people also lose the courage to live. The other survivors, however, have no time for grief. Everyone is hurriedly packing all their belongings and setting off. The survivors who had previously escaped from Uke City have 1 car and 2 motorcycles. Through the car window I see the driver of this car, which had escaped from Uke City, has changed. Presumably the original owner had been left behind in Jiangsu village. Adding to the convoy's existing 2 modified SUVs, 1 bus, 1 small car, 1 old man's joy scooter, and 3 motorcycles, plus my motorcycle trishaw.